Losers fall, reflexes sharp, minds enthrall. Gamers play, this never ends. SSL, where legends blend. SSL, we fight tonight. Battles in the storyline. From the shadows to the dream, we are the SOOP StarCraft League. We are the SOOP StarCraft League.
테란이 등장한 선수들이 많기 때문에 테란보다는 프로토스를 하는 게 낫지 않을까.
기도하는 조기석 선수, 간절한 조기석 선수를 만나보도록 하겠습니다.
저기 3명을 일단 다 나간다고 생각했어가지고 딱 2명 생각하고 있었거든요.
오.
아직까지 좀 고민하고 있어요.
아 솔직히 기석이랑 하는 거는 괜찮은데 저 D4에 올 선수가
첫 상대로 이제 기석이는 괜찮은데 D4 자리에 이제 그 선수가 올 수 있다는 거를 D조가 좀 좋은 조가 아니구나 이 생각이 들더라고요.
가장 최우선으로 보는 건 저는 정윤중 선수가
성윤종이에요.
테란전은 저랑 해도 제가 이깁니다. 정도로 폼이 굉장히
너덜너덜해요?
송병구 선수는 지금 폼이 워낙에 좋아.
오.
조심스럽게 추천.
네, 이렇게 강추 메모리고요. 조기석의 선택은 야, 송병구예요.
와 이건 얘기를 좀 들어봐야 될 것 같아요.
네.
지금 K대의 총장으로 또 바빠요. 또 병구 형이 테란 뽑을 것 같아요.
그래서
네.
첫 번째 라인에서 뽑힐 생각을 못 해가지고 누구를 뽑아야 될지 모르겠어요 지금.
어떻게 구성이 될까 저도 좀 궁금합니다.
생각을 좀 해보니까 아무래도 테란을 뽑는 게 나을 것 같다는 생각이.
대란을 뽑는 게 나을 것 같다.
네, 지금 그룹 D조 어떻게 생각하세요?
피하고 싶긴 합니다.
예 D조 싫습니다.
저 두 선수가 좀 까다로운 상대라서 저도 별로 가고 싶진 않아요.
근데 제가 생각보다 16강에서 엄청 많이 떨어졌는데 왜 이렇게 견제를 많이 하는지 생각보다 잘 못해요. 그냥 뽑으셔도 됩니다.
대란 중에 과연
누굴 내려갑니까? 김지성!
이 정도 예감을 하고 있지 않았을까라는 생각을 합니다.
요즘에 잘하긴 하는데 게임을 하는데 제가 다 이기더라고요.
오!
제가 개인적으로 자신감이 갖고 있는 상태에서
오기는 싫었는데 아까 병구 형이 딱 테란 뽑겠다 했을 때 어느 정도 예상은 했는데 어쩔 수 없죠 뭐.
자, 이어서 C그룹의 시간이 기다리고 있습니다. 이 심사치가 않은 이 두 선수가 있어가지고요.
그냥 좀 힘드네요.
좀 힘들죠.
그냥 탑게임 다시 깔라고요.
지금 계속해 기도를 하고 지금 전전긍긍하고 있어요. 여기서 누구 뽑았으면 좋겠어요, 진짜.
타 게임하러 갈 거면 재호 형 내고 가.
어차피
갈 거면
어차피 갈 거면.
데려가라. 이제 오냐 변현재냐?
네, 누구냐?
양쪽에 다 잡았습니다. 자 변현재.
예, 스스로 붙이고 마지막 자리 D4호.
제일 피하고 싶은 선수였는데 D3 들어온 순간 어쩔 수 없었다고 생각을 해요.
이렇게 해서 그룹 D조까지 모든 선택이 지금 마무리가 됐고.
A조 오고 싶으신 분 또 있나요 혹시?
D4 자리 바꿔줄 생각 없죠.
잠깐 제가 지성이 때문에 최근에 그
제가
리드를 두 번
최근에-
먹었거든요.
네,
지성아 그거 하고 국방부로 다시 가면 될 것 같아. 그쪽 해라.
저 좀 쉽지 않은 조라고 생각하는데 아직 시간이 있기 때문에 준비 많이 해서 꼭 올라가 보도록 하겠습니다.
I want to live every moment I can give. In the now I will thrive. I want to live.
통신을 내 방식대로 KB리브 모바일과 함께
Hello and welcome to Group D of the round of 16 here at the 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn Season, done in partnership with KB Live Mobile. With fierce matches all around in Group C yesterday, 2 Protoss players in rain and snow made it through, which currently makes it 2 Terran, 2 Protoss and 2 Zerg each in the round of 8. As we wonder who will remain standing after today, let's have a word with our 4 players ahead of Group D. Hello guys.
네, 먼저 D조 시드자 조기석 선수입니다.
First up, we have Group D's seeded player Sharp. Hey.
벌써 세 시즌 연속 D조에서 경기를
Sharp, this is your 3rd season in a row, duking it out in Group D in the round of 16, which perhaps makes this another thing to bear in mind now that we're just about to jump into the games. How is your form here today?
어저께 경기를 좀 인상 깊게 봤는데
I've been
다
keeping
시드자가
tabs
더
on the games,
올라오더라고요.
and so
그래서
far
제가
all of the
다른
seeded players made it through.
경기에 조금 부족한데
Well, I think I'm a bit lacking in comparison with those guys.
경기 할수 있을 것
I
같아요.
prepared well and should be able to show entertaining
조기석 선수
games.
입장에서 나쁜 조는 아닐 거라는
You must be thinking to yourself that
생각들을
this
하고 계시는 것
isn't
같아요.
too
수비
bad
과정
of a
좀
group.
어떠셨나요?
Can you tell us a bit about how you prepared?
선수들이랑 연습을 했었고
I practiced with a number of different players.
좋아하다 보니까
I preferred to play mech either way, so things should be alright today.
자, 이어서 송병구 선수와도
It
이야기
should be
나눠보겠습니다.
alright. Got it.
안녕하세요.
Let's now turn to Stork.
송병구
Hi.
선수는 시즌 12 이후에 정말 오랜만에
You're once
또
again getting
16강
ready
경기를
to play
준비하고
in the round of
계십니다.
16 for the first time since ASL season 12. You must be filled with expectations, excitement coming down to the studio today.
항상 처음엔 설레다가
Right. Whenever I come to the studio, I first feel excited, but then once I get here, I start feeling a little anxious, and that feeling just keeps growing. I'm a little nervous now as well. It would be nice if we could start ASAP. With the performance he showed in the round of 24, there is talk that the round of 16 seems more than doable, that you can get to the round of 8. Did you manage to build some confidence through practice?
할 때까지만 하더라도 제가 온라인에서 게임이
Up until the group selection ceremony, I had been doing well online.
끝나고 나서부터 좀 게임이 슬슬 안 되다가
But since then, I started losing more and more,
잘안 돼가지고
which kind of put a damper on my confidence. That in turn caused me to practice more,
맵 때문에 좀
but because of the
힘들더라고요.
maps, I have been struggling.
오늘 뭐 그냥 연습 열심히
Still,
했으니까 좋은 결과
I
있을
put in the
거라고
work
생각하고
and think I'll get a good
긍정적으로
result
한번
today.
해보려고 합니다.
I want to stay optimistic. It seems you've had a chance to put in more practice, seeing how this is the last group to be played, that you had more time because of that. Let's now talk to Royal. Hi. Your last comment at the group selection was that this is a tough group. You'll have to work hard. What's it like now? Have you managed to feel more lax about it while practicing?
근데 제가 항상 좀 태태전이
I
약하다는
keep
소리를
hearing
많이
how my
들었었는데
TVT is on the weak
이게
side,
막상 준비를 하니까
but once I got down to practicing,
올라오더라고요.
I felt my skill has gone up.
오늘 뭔가 좀 자신이 있는 것 같아요.
I have some confidence to play TVT today.
Oh,
you've got your hand on your hip. Look at this pose. You are radiating confidence. But to be perfectly honest, Royal, since that championship run in ASL 14, you have not managed to score a single set win in the round of 16. This is quite a surprising result. Oh, the hand is off the hip. These results just won't do, it seems.
오늘
That's right. It doesn't sit right with me.
끊으려고 생각 중이에요.
I want to change that today. Royal has come determined to break his losing streak. Let's now talk to Light as well. Hi. In the end, you have not been granted the privilege to pick a player yourself, this group selection alike, and we're the last player to join Group D. How are you feeling ahead of the games? When the groups were set, I felt this group is pretty good for me, but as I got to practicing, and with how long we've had to practice, I'm starting to feel this won't be as easy of a group. I'm actually quite nervous. This period of you not having made the round of 8 just keeps getting longer since season 14, since many people consider you being determined enough to make the finals. This must likewise make you more resolved than ever to break the round of 16 today. For some reason, things don't go well for me in the round of 16, but today, specifically, I do want to do well. Light seems on edge ahead of the matches. Let's take a deeper dive with the players now. I would like to talk to Sharp. Sharp, your win rate in TVT in the tournament proper is at 59.6%, almost a 60% win rate. With this being a 3 Terran, including yourself, and 1 Protoss group, there is talk that this group is sufficiently doable for you, and you yourself said you like playing mech. How would you rate your chances of making the round of 8 today? I came with a carefree, relaxed mindset today. Whenever I'm under this pressure to advance, it just doesn't happen. I get knocked out. And so today, I'm just staying relaxed, with the intent to enjoy myself. In your last 10 matches, you scored 7 victories. Which player are you looking to enjoy playing against the most? I should be looking forward to some TVTs, But with my first match being against Stork, this first game will be most important. It would seem Sharp came prepared with the first match in mind. Shall we talk to Stork some more? Stork, you've been running into some seasoned Terran veterans in this SSL autumn season. Mind and JYJ in the round of 24, and now 3 more Terrans in this coming Group D. If we look at this from the perspective of you only having to focus on one matchup, on PvT, has it made things less burdensome? It was easy to prepare. Once I find a practice partner, we just go through all the maps in order. I like that kind of process, but Light, Sharp, Royal, they all had different playstyles, which was something I had to contemplate a lot. Which of these 3 Terrans would you say has the most demanding playstyle for you? For me?
이재호 선수가 제일 까다롭죠.
Well, Light is the most demanding, isn't he? After that, it's Sharp. We were both on the same team back in the Kesper days. He knows my playstyle, so I too think the first game is the most important one. Looks like Stork doesn't fancy playing Light. We have one more player who wanted to avoid Light. Royal? You guys have a history between the two of you in tournaments. It's a close 2-1, but when it comes to online play, I am really sorry for having to bring this up. Between January and September 2024, Light is 21-1 against you, Royal, suffocating you. There must surely be a reason why you didn't want to play him. Is he as scary in the game? I'm well aware of the head-to-head record, and it was like that, but we played very recently, and it didn't feel like that was the case. I just want to play with confidence today. Royal is 1-21 against you, but that's not the full picture. He's felt it firsthand recently, is what Royal is saying. Like, what do you think about that? Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a gap, so whenever I beat him as much as I did, I couldn't believe it. I hope things go as well today. Understood. I wonder what the impact on today's game will be with how they are tiptoeing around the subject. Let's close things out and ask the players for their resolutions. Royal? I'll do my best to make the round of 8 this time. Looking forward to it. Sharp? Getting to play on stage in front of as many fans as there are today, I'll show good games and go home without any regrets. Good. Stork? I'll try my best, do my best so that I can get a good result. Okay. And Light? I too will do well today and advance. Can't wait. Looking forward to some great games. Thanks for the interview. You're watching Group D of the round of 16 of KB Live Mobile 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn. Let's kick off this final group to see which of our players will grab those last 2 tickets to the round of 8.
Hello again, everybody. We're here in the round of 16 for the SSL. This is Group D. After this, we're going to go right into the round of 8. Similar to Group C, it is a very, well, in this case, it's a very Terran group. Yesterday, it was a very Protoss group with 1 Terran, and now we've completely switched it around.
Yeah. And I think it's actually going to be a lot like yesterday's group, where the player we're very impressed with is the guy that's all alone, racially speaking. I'm so excited to watch Stork, and that is really not something I have historically said. I never really cared for Stork back in the day when he was championship quality. But now that he's kind of back to that quality, I'm all about it, Tasteless. This is really exciting.
I want to share your enthusiasm for Stork. I know you've been watching him a little bit more than I have lately, Artosis.
Yeah.
But God, the Terrans in this group look really scary. We've got Light, who at times we've basically held up as the replacement to Flash, representing the race. But then we also have, players like Royal who have proven to be these next-gen Terrans that approach the game extremely differently, have a lot of very cool ideas. And of course, Sharp is back. And on any given season, Sharp can play really well and easily get out of a round of 16.
That's for sure. Like, Sharp is literally my favorite player, so I can't disagree with you on any of these assessments. But Stork is looking fantastic. In that previous round, he looked like by far the best Protoss player in PvT. And I mean, I know Sharp, Royal, Light, these guys are all stone-faced killers. And most seasons, I'd be looking at this and saying, yeah, Stork's pretty screwed.
I think you mean stone cold killers, but I like that there's something's been happening where you get like worms in your brain where you're starting to mix together like common phrases that people say and turn them into something else. But I like it. He's a stone-faced killer.
Yeah, well, it's especially Light. But yeah, no. You make me wake up too early for these cast Tasteless. My brain isn't fully working. I'm still on my first cup of coffee here. But yeah, listen. Okay, so Stork looked so good in those PVT matches against like JYJ, and I forget the other Terran that was in his group, but he looked unbelievable in that previous round. And in KCM 2 weeks ago, Tasteless, he almost all killed. KCM is a race survival series. It's like a big league out in Korea. It's my favorite thing to watch. It's really entertaining. It's like 3 Protoss, 3 Terran, 3 Zerg, and they kind of do a winner stays format. And Stork killed Barracks, and then Shine, and then Royal, and then Jadong, and then Rush. And then finally Queen was able to take him out. So he was 1 win away from an all kill, which never happens. No one gets all kills in that league. It's not even Snow, not Light, nobody. And like, it didn't even look close. He smashed everybody. Smash. He's in ridiculously good shape right now.
Well, if he can do it, that would be pretty incredible. We would end up with 3 Protosses in the final 8.
Yeah.
We should note this has been an unusually Terran-heavy SSL so far. You know, every once in a while we have, okay, it's a lot of Zergs or it's a lot of Protosses. This time around, it's going to be the Terrans. We could still easily have a Terran or 2 in the finals, but right now, a lot of this is going to come down to the players here today. Specifically, Royal and Light are just 2 of the strongest Terrans that are ever. Sharp has had his moments. I do feel like he generally performed stronger in the past, but he certainly had his moments recently here as well. Always a very different approach from the rest of the players. And Stork's a guy from the same era of Jadong, of Bisu, of, you know, Flash was, you know, rising up at that time as well. And we have always talked about Stork more in the past tense because he wasn't looking anywhere near as strong. But if what Tastosis is saying is true and he's got this crazy solid PVT, who's to stop him?
Well, if there is someone to stop him, this group has 3 really great candidates for that. And they all play a very different style, which I think is going to be a little bit hard. He's starting out against the group leader, Sharp here. And Sharp, you know, if you were watching yesterday, Sharp plays kind of similarly to Speed, or rather I should say Speed plays similarly to Sharp. Sharp is very vulture harassment oriented, very fast, pretty aggressive overall, but has a great macro game. I'm a huge fan of the way that he plays Terran versus Protoss, so you know, I think that this is a tough first match for Stork here.
Yeah, I think Sharp definitely, you know, if I had to compare him to somebody who he reminds me of the most, I think in a little bit it would be like Speed. And Speed obviously looked phenomenal just the other day, but he's an in-your-face Terran. He uses vultures to get ahead a lot, whether he's spamming out mines, whether he's getting in there and taking out your workers. I guess we could talk more about that in a second. Guys, we're ready to get into this. This is the final day of the round of 16. We're starting it off with Sharp versus Stork.
We are camp, we are here for the ride, trying to fun side by side.
Okay, we have both players here on the left side. Stork at the top, Sharp at the bottom. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this match and seeing what Stork is going to do. We should point out, and we've joked about it, but it is true. Stork was going for different variations of carrier builds more than anybody was ever. The only person who came close was maybe the finals with Mini versus Rush, where he just did almost all carrier builds. It was kind of crazy, and then basically retired a lot of that play style for a while.
Yeah, that was actually hugely brained by Mini. That was right when we were all really realizing that Nexus First is the strongest opener, and he did, out of the 7 games, 4 of them were Nexus First, and I think all of them went into carrier, which is actually the scariest thing that Nexus First can do, because they have that economic advantage. But Stork is willing to do it off nothing, man. He'll gateway expand and then go into carrier on 2 base, lose his natural and kill you anyways. It's like so that season where he went so many carrier builds was crazy.
It was nuts, man. I mean, just seeing, I actually became obsessed with that weird carrier build that he did where he lost the Nexus and still won. And I tried it in some of my games, and it actually kind of works. If you get the 4 carriers out, you can snowball the game, especially if you counterattack with Dragoons. Again, he probably won't do it anywhere near to that extent. If he does, we know how to cast that. We've done it before. But, yeah, I mean, if Stork has put the hours in and the time in, and modernize his play. And by the way, speaking of modern, he's going to go with Nexus first here. So let's see what he's got. For those who started following StarCraft 2, let's say in the past 6 to 8 years, you would have missed out on, the beauty of Stork's builds and what he did to innovate. He was really somebody that knew how to hone the builds, how to cut probes here or there, how to get a Nexus a little bit earlier. And a lot of the ways that everybody plays now was inspired by him. But even though he thought it up and mastered it, because it was a lot of build order efficiency stuff, other players can just look at that and kind of copy your homework. And so a lot of the build orders that we see now were very Stork inspired, albeit though, I should say conservative. He was not a risk taker. If you want to look at risk taking builds, take a look at Mini.
Yeah.
I think a perfect example of Stork doing this style of play was his PvP. I'm sure we all have PvP fresh in our minds from yesterday, but Stork was the guy who would go for gateway robo and then another gateway, get an observer out, get a crawling reaver, expand. This is kind of a somewhat obsolete, super conservative way to play, just because now PvP has so much corner cutting. But at the time, he kind of figured out exactly how to stop the DTs, get a base, not die to a push, not die to 3-gate goons. He kind of figured that out. So just a little bit of history from him.
Yeah. Historically, he's an incredibly important player. He's mentioned, and that was a canceled Forge. That was a canceled Forge.
Okay.
So this is already great optimizations from Stork. But I just wanted to add one thing to what you were saying, right? There was a group of 4, which was Jaedong, Flash, Bisu, and then Stork. And they were all mentioned in the same breath, even though he has only 1 actual championship to his name. He was considered to be that level. So that speaks volumes, I think, about how strong he really was back in the day. So just to quickly mention, Stork was doing the Nexus Forge build, and he cross-spawn scouted, and then he found Sharp second, and got in there, and he went past the Marine with the probe. He sacked the probe, saw the command center, canceled the Forge, and went Cybernetics Core. Because once the command center starts, you can't rush with this anymore. So that was beautifully done by Stork. The timing on that was exquisite, because if the Forge finishes, you have to make the cannon because everything else is slowed down and everything, and the build is not as good. So now what we see Stork doing here, the build is amazing. Like, he's going robo super fast, he's skipping range right now. If you realize that you're not getting rushed, you don't have to skip a single probe. Like, it's a very good opener from Stork. And it's not that Sharp's build is bad here. He's gone for a gasless expansion. It's a good play. He's well defended right now. These Zealots aren't going to do anything. He's getting a couple factories. So I would say, like, looking at this, both of them did really great economic openers. Stork's is just slightly better.
Yeah, and it looks like he's not going to throw his 2 Zealots away here and run into the main. The old Timmy 2 Zeals. Sending them in, hoping you can get in there and kill the SCV making the factory. This was, like, pretty hot 3 seasons ago, and now everybody just kills the Zealots, and it's like, well, now you have 1 Dragoon to your name back at home. He's going to get that Observer out pretty quickly. He's already gotten his 2nd gas, 2 more gateways. And we do know, for a second I thought he was going to run the Dragoon in there. I'm like, no way.
No way.
There's no reason to do that. So he is just going to power up. Now, Terran did go for 2 factories right away. But the Armory should tell us that we're not going to have an attack necessarily immediately.
Yeah. In fact, I believe he went 2 Vulture here, right? So I think he looked at this and said, okay, your range is really late, so I literally don't even have to go siege tanks. So it might be a mines opener. It actually could be a speed opener as well, honestly. Oh, it is mines, so mines just finished up. And Stork actually almost killing this vulture as it runs past. But look, right now, I think both of them are playing like basically perfect games. I love that Stork already has a pylon wall at that third base, because I think this is why Nexus First is so good, is because of how quickly it can get that third base out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very funny look to the matchup as it starts to pick up. And I want to go back to something Tastosis was highlighting. He was saying, well, he knows there's no Dragoon range, so he can't get siege. That's how crazy the builds are now with Nexus First. So you can delay your siege mode, which means you get all your other upgrades really quickly. Dragoon range, I think, is going to finish up in a moment here. But yeah, I mean, this is the hyper-modern PvT that we've seen a lot of. It seems to be a matchup where the rushes really have died down. The Protosses just got too good at holding them. And basically we're feeding into the Terrans. So instead, it's the Terrans now really trying to figure out some kind of a solution to play catch-up and threaten the Protoss. And remember that when you see Nexus First, it doesn't say that you have to do any one specific thing after you've gone for Nexus right away. We've seen carriers off of 2 bases. We've seen 2-base Arbiter. We've seen quick third base. We've seen Reaver play. So that's the other scary part for the Terran, is that it's still all the possible matchups that exist inside of the PvT as far as the different unit compositions. By the way, I know we're not going to have it this game, but it's looking like a slow game. Tastosis, I wanted your thoughts. Can you do any kind of weird barracks play where you go for stim marines and tanks? Does that work against Nexus First?
No, it really doesn't. You know, just the amount of gateway units that they can put out and the pressure that they're generally going to be able to put on. Because it's like, either they go for a pretty fast observer, which will scout what you're doing in time to counter it, because Reaver Tech takes 19 seconds to build. Or, you know, they're just making a ton of gateway units anyways. And then it's like, well, you're going to have enough Marine Medic that it almost looks close, but it just doesn't scale at all. So, yeah, it's just, there's no sort of Marine Medic rush that does anything, really. Now, I want to mention, this is a very fast 5 factory from Sharp, and Stork has been doing a very good job scouting that. And, you know, it looks like Sharp wants to do a push, but this is one place that Stork has been outplaying the other Protosses recently, is he has looked at situations like this and been able to block them pretty damn well recently. Like, he is making the right amounts of units, he's standing in the right places. Here he has a single Reaver out front with that third base up. He's adding a ton of gateways as well. And let's see if he can slow this down and just stop it, because I think Sharp actually wants to push. Like, I don't think he's just going to make a command center here, although maybe he should.
Yeah, he might want to. You know, the Reaver is probably the unit that is absolutely the best at just delaying the 5 factory or 6 factory push. Because once you get that shuttle speed, you can just keep throwing the Reavers down. You can force siege mode over and over. If Terran overextends into like 2 Scarabs shot at a good angle, you can blow up like 3 tanks and vultures. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. It definitely can be very, very good. Now look, Sharp is trying to use these vulture tactics to get Stork out of position. Stork does have Zealot legs on the way. We already saw the Citadel. He has a ton of gates finishing up. Sharp Siege is right here. Okay, he just started his command center. Okay, so we're getting like some real TVP here. Okay, he's in here harassing a little bit. I don't think Sharp is going to continue the push. I think he saw how many Zealots were already walking out. He sees that there's shuttles, and I think he's going to look at this and say, okay, yeah, this is maybe not going to end up working out.
It does seem like it. He's actually going to push it now. There's enough mines here. I think he has to respect it. The double shuttle could make for some very cool play. Let's also remember, though, you know, when we see double shuttle, there's, of course, always the possibility you just drop on the units, but you could also drop in the main. But this map, it has the same dilemmas that, you know, Snow could encounter here, in that it's pretty hard to get into the main without being shot down organically, like we see just now from those Goliaths. Taking a third base very naturally defends your main. And so recalls, shuttle dives into the main, all, you know, just kind of harder to pull off. And, you know, it's funny, we're seeing a different type of Protoss playstyle, but facing the same consequences because of the map and the way the Terran's playing, where like you can't really circumvent the defenses. Where the second and third are covered, the main is basically as well.
Now, Stork, after he sees, like he tried that dive and did get caught, as you mentioned, but as he sees that third base coming up, he does start his fourth Nexus, which is really good. Now, is he going to do this attack? He is up a good 30 supply. I don't know. I feel like Sharp has enough units here, Tastosis. This might not end up working out for him.
He's going to go with some pretty long-distance Reaver shots here. He's going to just try to push the Zealots through, but, you know, the Vultures are just so well placed. This is godlike placement. He is still forcing some fights here with the Reavers. I think he might have saved one, but the other one was shot down.
The fight
Or did he kill both?
I think he killed both the Reavers, but maybe he did save one.
Okay.
I was kind of watching the goons there at the end to make sure he didn't throw those.
Yeah, my eyes were.
Yeah, they're almost more important than the
quite
Reavers at this point, honestly. Like the Dragoon count not dropping too low. But like, I don't think that was a very good move, but he actually did a bit better than I thought he would there. He did save some of the Dragoons. But yeah, when you start losing some Dragoons, then that's going to give Sharp like a lot more room to maneuver on the map. Now, another little push in here. He's coming from a different angle. It's a mostly speed zealot push, and he is killing multiple siege tanks here. The goons, I think this is a little bit wasteful, but he brings a few more down, and look at this. He actually turns those zealots around, gets over to the siege tanks, tries to drag mines, doesn't quite do it, but gets another tank there as well. You know, I see Sharp win a lot of games that look exactly like this, where the Protoss is like, I have so much, let's go. But Sharp is really good at setting up and defending. Like, he hold positions his Vultures way back at his tanks. He kind of defends a bit different than most Terrans in these ways.
I think the bigger issue that we're not really even focusing on because there's been so much action is the top right. Protoss should have had the top right main and the natural. The third base has been taken, but, you know, it's 4 bases to 3. That's not a very comfortable position to be in, especially the longer the game is going on. We're at about, 13 minutes, 20 seconds almost. So, you know, Terran is going to be looking pretty strong. The supplies are pretty even. I think the advantage that Stork may have had, we're kind of past that point. Some storm drops are going to come in here. I think that's the right idea. Always a little tricky with the first storm drop to get any real kills onto the SCVs because they are so tanky. Usually, of course, they're not repaired, so you can get them in the second or third drop. But, you know, Terran is mustering a pretty impressive army. We're starting to see the recovery of the top right now, but it just seems like Stork was so focused on trying to plow through the Terran's defense, and I really think Sharp is just too good at defending in general, that this is a very late expand here.
Yeah. I agree with you like 100%. I think if Terran is kind of turtling on 3 bases, your job as Protoss is to increase your tech a little bit and get up to 5 bases, and that really puts Terran into an uncomfortable position. But when you're attacking on 4 bases, it's really hard to max out after that. Like, it takes a long time to get to max supply. And you can see here, he's just kind of bleeding some units off. It was that one attack. I feel like both sides played the game basically perfectly until Stork decided to attack in with, you know, the plus 30 supply advantage.
And so now, I mean, Terran is going to come out and assert himself. It's Protoss. Now, he does have Storm. That's kind of the key tech that's working for him. I don't believe there was a second Robo made, which is fine, but we're not going to have the same kind of style that came out of Snow here. So this really comes down to just getting some good Psy Storms off. Remember that this shuttle, without the Robo support bay, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. He might have speed shuttles here. Yeah, he has speed shuttles, so he's going to be much more nimble. No, I had like a brain fart there for a second, but yeah, he'll be able to move the shuttle pretty nimbly and try to take his storm shots when he can. But yeah, dude, Sharp looks really scary right now.
Yeah, he did such a great job defending. Now, this is a good move from Stork. Sharp is kind of moving around at the front. Stork is going to hit here, force him back a little bit. And, oh, there is actually a little hole there. Ooh, these Psy Storms could be good. Not a great one. The second one, very, very good. Third one, amazing! Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He needs to kill those 4 tanks. He needs to get those Zealots on top of those.
You know, it was incredible what the Storm did, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with the attack in here. I mean, he basically tried to move an entire Protoss army through like the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
And I think the counterpunch here from Sharp is going to be pretty good. He's moving out. Remember that the Templars were spent. He might have others that are going to be put into shuttles, but for now, it's your very standard Tier 1 Zealot Dragoon army against a pretty well upgraded Terran army.
Oh, yeah. He's got 2-2 right now. You know, he's utilizing his science vessels really well. You can see Stork like used a lot of his Psy Storms and used a lot of his shuttles. So he's fighting with mostly gateway units here, which is very, very uncomfortable. He's being pushed back. This push from Sharp, absolutely fantastic. I think that Stork still has some potential to clear this, but it is getting very tough. The spread from Sharp is awesome. He's so good at these fast pushes.
Yeah, and he's basically like parting the Red Sea here with Protoss. He's got the Dragoons over here being shoved out to the right, and he can hunt them down and isolate them. On the left side, where we're not showing on screen, he's littered that with mines. So everything else is going to have to stay back. And this is going to give Terran an avenue to try to push into this top right location. I think we have a 4th base being taken at 6 o'clock as well. I mean, Sharp is really firing on all cylinders here.
Yeah, setting up that 4th base while you're trying to attack here is really important. The one thing I'm a little nervous for Sharp is if he overextends splitting his army up, suddenly you can have Protoss come out with a really big army, clear one side, and then bring everything together to clear the other. And it's like, wait, I didn't kill any Nexuses, but all my tanks are gone. And that's where Protoss catches back up in these situations.
Great Psy Storm there, gonna bruise some of those vultures. There's another Templar in the back over here. Can we get a Psy Storm? Another one comes down. Not the most effective. I think there might just be too much from Terran here, where you can kind of just ignore the storms and push through, power through.
He actually saved a lot of the probes with those 2 speed shuttles, so I actually really like that play. Like, he dropped out the High Templars, kind of let some of them die, and got some storms off, and, you know, is doing his best to save part of his economy here, pushing out through, you know, this was the very small amount of units he left behind to kind of slow this, and that did allow him to get that Nexus, so that's kind of a big move. I don't think Stork has any other, like, counterattack potential here. And actually, if he had brought anything, he could have saved that Nexus. Sharp moved away too quickly there.
Yeah, I guess Stork is still kind of in this, but Terran is looking so formidable right now. I think if Stork loses another fight, that could be it. I don't really see an easy road to recovery. I guess he could try to storm drop over here if he wanted. You know, there's not a lot of places for Protoss to go other than reclaiming the spots he's already got. The bottom right spawn location is going to be the central focus here if Stork can actually drag this game out. We're almost at 20 minutes, so it's been a very long PvT. Protoss needs to deny Terran access to that bottom right and fill that up with gateways. It seems like for now the game will go on. The Terran has pulled back and is not going to push out for a little bit. Protoss maxing out. But again, man, that 3-3 is just around the corner. We're looking at Stork, who's only got attack upgrades, no armor, although that could start in a little bit here.
Yeah, I think Stork's actually done a pretty good job with his upgrades so far. +3 right now feels pretty good. A little storm drop, and pretty well done. Pretty well done. Kills a good amount of SCVs there. Leaving the 1 High Templar to deal as much damage as is possible here. Does get a little bit more. Another turret going to go up there from Sharp to try to punish that type of move more. And, you know, Stork is up supply, but this definitely looks like a good position for Terran, right? Like, having this 4th base, very, very strong. I think any dedicated attacks from Stork will fail. What he needs to do is, as Sharp moves up, take engagements, kill what he can, and back up.
Okay, we've got some more great Psy Storms coming in here. That's going to thin out that SCV count, but this push is really the more important moment because he's going to be able to come in here and once again split this army. It seems like Stork wants to try to fight back. He's got 3 shuttles. I'm sure some of them have Zealots he wants to dump in. Others, Templars. He's going to have some great Psy Storms. I just see 1 tank left over here. You know what? I wonder if Sharp had some kind of a bad hotkey, because there was at least a hotkey group of tanks back there that never moved.
Yeah. It could have been that he thought they were closer when he sieged, or it could have been that he accidentally didn't unsiege. Like, if you even have 1 tank that is unsieged in that army, the commands aren't going to go through correctly. So, you know, that was definitely some sort of mistake. If all those tanks are up there, that would have been a much better engagement by him. But Stork kind of pushes that back. Unfortunately for Stork, his top left 2 bases, like his main and his natural, are mined out. So he's only mining off 3 bases right now, whereas Sharp is on 2. And with Sharp's upgrades, with 3-3 on the way, again, this position, very, very good for Sharp. Oh, man, even
We're
gets
getting in
another
that
command
position.
center.
This is basically a death sentence. If Terran gets that bottom right base, it's over. It's funny, we were talking about this in the podcast before the the game started. Terran basically never gets another starting location, but if they do, they pretty much can't win. Or pretty much can't lose, excuse me. Because Terran should never have that many bases. Having a natural and a main, that's a lot.
So 5 bases, man, you start, you can play like Protoss, man. You can just throw armies away and stuff. The amount you can produce is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy strong. And so Stork has to do something about this. And right now, he just doesn't have a whole lot of control in the middle of the map. We have a lot of Templars, by the way, that are just sort of floating around, sometimes storming 2 probes, apparently. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to have capital ship tech, arbiters, or carriers, but if you're going to go with just a ground army, when Terran has this much money, it's very hard to just move through the middle of the map. The middle of the map is not actually that big. Arbiters can recall, mass shuttles can drop, and kind of hit the Terran where he's not. But right now, it's just a 1 Robo Protoss. So he's going to come in again here. It looks like he wants to go for another Psy Storm. Ooh, beautiful storms.
Yeah, he's definitely had really excellent storm drops all game. You know, he is in kind of a tough position here. It's funny because he's up like 35 supply. He does have half of the map about right now. But this position for Sharp is very, very good. Look at that setup, man. You cannot attack into that storm.
No.
Oh, man. Loses like 10 supply of Dragoons there. Very painful. He is retaking this base. The thing is, you can't just let Terran get that area, but he also can't attack into it.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. It's why a lot of these games where you don't go for carriers, you just need to get gateways in the other mains. And I think sometimes players look at that and be like, yeah, because Protoss need all of the mains to win the game. And I think the truth is actually you need the Terran to not get the main as well.
Yeah.
You want to make it impossible to ever push up that ramp and hold that. And, you know, that's a key part of this. And I mean, the more this game goes on now, I feel like there's almost no way for Sharp to lose. As long as he keeps a good tank spread, Protoss will actually run out of resources. Oh my God, what am I looking at?
Yeah, bad pathing here as Sharp is just kind of pushing a little bit more into the map. I mean, this is one of the ways that you beat Protoss is you just inch into the map a little bit more. You know, he's suffocating him here. You can't even move around a Stork. The army of Sharp's so strong. He's taken a supply lead really for the first time in the game now. Stork's trying to keep it together. I gotta say, it was a very good game by both sides, but Sharp is about to take it, I think.
Well, the Psy Storms are going to come in here and do a decent amount of damage. If you can get another one off, that would be nice, but there's just so many tanks behind all this. I mean, there's a world where maybe if you can keep playing Keep Away and storming over and over and the Terran's slow at pushing, I think you could maybe do something, but Stork is just losing too much. I think there's only 3 gateways in this top right main. So, and on top of that, Sharp is actually taking the bottom right main. So it's very rare to see a game in PvT end like this. You might experience it more on ladder, but generally at the highest level, the Protoss just won't let the Terran ever go into that bottom right location. But I think Stork had to play such a tight game on such a low amount of bases. Yeah. This was one of the little things he couldn't, you know, little boxes he couldn't quite tick, right?
Well, I think it all comes down to that attack he did on 4 bases as Sharp was taking a 3rd. Like, that's how Sharp wins a lot of games, is you think like, oh, well, he was going to go 5 factory and I have so many units, like, let's attack in. But he was in such a great entrenched position. And if you lose your army on 4 base, it's a big deal. If you lose it on 5 base, it's not that big of a deal. You can refill it. So, yeah, I think Sharp got the tempo advantage at that point and never let go of it. Really, in my mind, looking at this game, that was really just the one mistake that we saw. Everything else built off of that. It was that one attack from Stork when he was at like 170 supply, right into Sharp's entrenched position. If instead of that, he just makes that 5th Nexus that you were talking about, I think that the game looks completely different.
Well, Stork is going to go down to the losers match. Sharp will go up into the winners. And we've got a little TVT coming up next, guys.
All right.
Here's Sharp on camera saying, thank you for giving me that other main. Never in my pro history have I beaten a Protoss while taking another spawn.
Yeah, this was a bit rough. I'm not sure what they're going to show here. Oh, this is like just right at the end when he was walking through. This was not the defining moment. The game was already out of hand here for Stork, even though he's up in supply. Yeah. I mean, it's really, everything is so tempo-based at these high levels. Like, you have to make sure you're hitting your bases at the right time, or someone like Sharp. Like, the thing is, you play a lesser pro, Stork's still going to win this game. But you play someone like Sharp that really understands what he needs to do, I mean, this is what the game can look like.
Yeah, this was painful, too. Again, you know, maybe not the most important moment to focus on. I think the game was far, far gone from here. But that Templar drop where he tried to force everything through a very narrow area. We've seen this happen more and more, and I don't know if it's because Best was doing it so well in so many ASLs for a while that I think everybody thought, oh, I could do that too. But, you know, Terrans have gotten better and better at defending. The setups are so nice. Again, in a long game where, let's say you have the bottom right, these storm plays will work over time. It'll feel like they don't do that much. A lot of times you'll see Terran stuff get stormed and nothing dies, and it feels like, you know, it's not working. But, you know, over the course of 20, 30, 40 storms and taking conservative fights, you can eventually get ahead.
Yeah. But well played, well played. I'm still looking forward to Stork coming out in 2nd place of this group. But for now, he goes to the loser match. A quick commercial break, and then our TBT.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구속은 사랑할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
Take on the world. We're gonna take on the world. Standing up tall. We gotta make it our own. No waiting around. Winners will never look down. No one can stop us. We got it. The future is right in our hands. Give it 100%. We're gonna take on the world.
Welcome back, everybody. It's TVT time. Sharp was victorious versus Stork. And now it's going to be Royal going up against Light. This is going to be a great TVT.
Yeah, it really should be. These guys are both like really great macro players. You know, Royal is like kind of an optimizer a little bit. He definitely likes gasless expansion. From the TVTs I've watched of his, that's like his kind of go-to strongest general play. And it's actually very good on Radeon. But, you know, sometimes there's some mind games around that as well. So we'll see what he ends up going for. Light takes like a more general approach and just generally makes better decisions than his opponents in Terran vs. Terran. He makes really hard positions look so simple. Very, very smart at the matchup.
I'm curious who'll take this. I think old Tastosis would say Light, but me right now, I feel like Royal's got a real shot.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of very, very fun ideas. I always knew he was a great player, but when he came out on top in that incredible season of ASL, you know, it's funny, with Flash not being in StarLeagues right now, we kind of thought that the Terran landscape was, you know, already self-evident and that it would be Light winning everything. And it just turns out there's so many other great Terran players who are ready to fill that vacuum when Flash is gone, and Royal's one of them.
Yeah. You know, I like Royal. He's really good, but I don't know. I look at this group and I wonder, is his style going to be one that comes out of the group? It could be, but is he going to make the right decisions against Sharp and Light, who have a lot more experience against him? I think that's a little bit of a deeper question that we're going to start to answer here in Radeon.
And I think we should be ready to hop into this game. Royal and Light about to duke it out here. The winner goes up against Sharp. The loser goes up to face off against Stork in the losers match in what is turned out to be a very Terran-heavy group. A lot of Terrans this season. Let's see who's going to take it now between Royal and Light. I think I just did an Tastosis here where I tried to close out the show.
Yeah,
before it was
like
actually
Tastosis, they're still on camera, man. What are you doing?
Why am I doing this? I thought surely they'd start to zoom the camera around.
I love Royal's like dialed in look, where he's like, his eyes are like almost closed, and it's like he's looking. It's almost like his head is tilted forward a little bit. He's looking through the very top of, you know, it's almost like a glare. Like when my children get angry at me, it's like how they look at me.
It's almost like, you know, in Game of Thrones when like Bran would warg and his eyes would roll in the back of his head.
Yeah.
It's almost like that.
Yeah.
From Denmark, welcome. We see your signs. We love seeing those signs, guys. Hope you all are enjoying the show.
It's awesome that people go and visit and watch live StarCraft 1 games in Korea 26 years after it came out. It's amazing.
Oh, is it 26 years now?
It's been 26 years, man. How crazy is that?
Wow. It's eventually going to be 30 years.
Yeah, and then like it might even
that.
it's going to hit 40 years eventually too. How crazy is that, Tasteless? That's going to be StarCraft's midlife crisis.
That's right. That's what StarCraft has to buy a Porsche. It's going to be crazy. Get a Porsche and get hair plugs is going to be the move. All right. Finally, we're ready to get into this one, guys. TVT time. Light versus Royal. Let's get into it.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay. Royal here in the top left. Light in the top right. We're back on Radeon.
The one thing I've been saying this about Radeon, we just haven't seen it in the TVTs. It's a very good map for things like gasless expansion, and it has that buildable center, so it's also a very good map for things like forward 11 barracks to try to put pressure on things like gasless expansion. Of course, things can get messy if you start taking those types of risks, so sometimes people just go, nah, I'll just factory expansion, it's fine.
We've had more and more Command Center first. Interestingly, even in PvP, we've had more Nexus first. It seems like there's this, it's really permeated everywhere. You know, the greed expands.
Yeah.
are real. Well, I don't necessarily think we're going to have anything like that here, but do want to point it out because we will have a lot of TVTs here today, and we did have Quick Command Center, a decent amount already.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, as RTS games become more solved, it generally goes towards more greedy plays, more economically based plays, as you get good at defending everything. StarCraft 1, I think, is... Because you actually have to see it get patched out of a lot of games. Like, if you look at StarCraft 2, right? Eventually, we always end up in metagames where, like, Protoss vs. Zerg is 30 minutes, you know, and the map gets mined out.
Right.
And then a patch comes and it kind of resets. With StarCraft 1, obviously, we haven't had a patch in, like, 24 years or so. But, like, the metagame is so shifting that, like, you know, it'll go towards greed sometimes, and then it just goes so much towards aggression that everything becomes like this weird, you know, like the 5-factory meta in Terran versus Protoss. Just Protoss has got so good at attacking, you couldn't do upgrade Terran anymore, right? So, in almost every RTS, it always goes towards that kind of greed. But, you know, in StarCraft 1, it kind of just goes all over the place.
It really does. You know, we'll have a super greedy builds for a while, then it'll go back into some, you know, aggressive micro plays. I do think, you know, when you were talking about StarCraft 2 and how a lot of these matchups like PvZ, TvZ as well, will eventually turn into like these like never-ending macro games, and I think some of that is just that I think there's more nuance to big fights in StarCraft 1 than there is in StarCraft 2.
Sure.
And I say that as somebody who loves StarCraft 2, and I want to cast that forever like I cast this game, but you know, the fact that you can cast a bunch of abilities at once very easily, that you can move your whole army at once. I mean, the beautiful thing about StarCraft is the unintentional comeback mechanic of punishing a player who gets very ahead because they have more buildings to macro out of. They have more army, more hotkey groups of army to move around. If they have more bases, they have more places they have to make workers. I mean, I think we've all been in that position where we get really ahead, and you can feel the heat. You can feel the pressure of trying to juggle all those tasks. And you've definitely felt it in the reverse where you've been rushed, you're barely surviving, but you're not missing a single worker. You're able to make every attacking unit. You never miss an upgrade. Your tech is perfect, and that's because you're operating off of a limited amount of things that you have to do, where the opponent who may have 2 or 3 bases more than you, but they're juggling more. And I don't feel like we've ever had this, because, you know, it's not a game design mechanic, but it kind of is, and it should be explored more because it's part of what makes the game good.
Yeah, actually, there's a wonderful video, Tasteless. I'll have to link it to you later, but I suggest everyone goes and watches it. Pig has a very short video that's like just a highlight of his stream. Someone was asking what the difference between Brood War and StarCraft 2 is. And he talked about the granularity of the decision-making and the different little things that you have to do. And he's been playing a lot of Age 2, which it's reflecting that as well, why people like Age 2 more than Age 4, for instance. So, yeah, I thought it was really, really well said by Pig in that video. But yeah, it's just kind of a beautiful thing. There's just so much to do. Now,
there's so many things you can focus on too. You know, it's not like, I think in many StarCraft 2 games, you're just sort of at a certain level able to do all the things you have to do, and if you don't, well, then you've just fallen behind. Where in StarCraft 1, you know, maybe you're focused a little bit more on this one aspect, like trying to scout or harass, or a little bit more on just making sure every worker the moment they come out goes to get resources.
Okay, Royal's build is unbelievable. Oh my god. Like, this is the most important vision check we've ever seen. This is insane. This is insane. Royal is going to be way ahead. He hasn't seen the factory. That's insane. I have chills. Okay, so what Royal did here, this is so crazy. He made a depot at his natural and sacrificed scouting with his barracks to make a wall instead of a bunker. And then he used his Marines to push back the barracks, and his second factory didn't get scouted, and he saw a tank come out. 100% we see 2 Goliaths made by Light. But Royal is actually going for Siege Tank Vulture, and he's adding a 3rd factory. All of his factories are way spread and hidden. He has duped Light, and Light is going to have a garbage unit comp comparatively.
This is kind of crazy. How did he know that the factory just over there would be the perfect distance? Is it because the barracks would take enough damage it would start to burn and it would have to take a different path out?
He had 2 Marines that he put on it instantly, and that it's like you do have to eventually turn around or you lose the barracks. Because you don't want to lose that barracks early. Now, that being said, I haven't seen the Goliaths yet. If Light somehow doesn't make any Goliaths here, he's the greatest gamer. Like, every Terran on Earth would look at this and say, okay, I really flew that deep in there. I don't see a secondary factory. He's making siege tanks. There must be a Wraith on the way. But he didn't make a single Goliath. Maybe there's something about the timing. Maybe, I'm not sure what it is, but somehow he's figured this out and he hasn't. Because, like, what you want is you want to get your opponent to make Goliaths when they shouldn't. Because Goliaths just don't, you know, very early game they fight well, but against Tank Vulture, they're just not the unit you want. You want tanks and vultures, right? And Light just hasn't made any of it. This is so crazy. These guys are so good, Tasteless. As a Terran player watching this, I'm like,
crazy.
These gamers, these pro gamers are so pro, man. But look at this. He's adding a 4th factory. Dude, he didn't make a single Goliath, and that looks so much like Tank Wraith.
This is wild. He snipes a tank at the distance. There's only a few more mines here. Royal's going to keep leapfrogging. Light without siege mode can't do anything. Royal's closing in even further. Oh, he's going to pull the SCVs.
God. He's dead.
The vultures shimmy back.
He's dead. That's it.
Dude, Royal is such a big brain gamer.
This was so well done. This was so well done.
I can't believe this dude. It's are we on the best version of StarCraft right now? I mean, people are getting so good at this. Look at that. That's the I'm so good smirk.
And the thing is, it should have been even better. Like, Light should have made 2 Goliaths. Well, obviously he shouldn't have, but like, that was such a well-laid plan. And he just caught him completely off guard. Like, he skipped mines. He went right into siege mode, and he just nailed it because Light was busy doing things like getting speed and mines and all that. And, you know, Royal got the quick scanner, so he had the scans to get through there. Went right up the side where you can't hit from high ground with those siege tanks, targeted everything down. Wow. Bashed Light. Bashed him.
Royal's so sick, man.
That was really well done.
I know I'm a scumbag Protoss, but Royal is one of my favorite players. I learned so much from watching him. I mean,
oh, dude, look.
I wish they would.
He's down 8 SCVs. So this was like an all-in from Royal.
Yeah,
holy crap.
I didn't even realize he hadn't made SCVs. I was so busy watching that. And by the way, guys, a lot of times siege mode, you want to delay it because you can get other stuff out more quickly because siege mode is 150 minerals, 150 gas. And so the fact that he just shoves in like this, and you know, siege tanks in siege mode are always going to be just normal tanks that are rolling around on the map with the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just able to basically inch in. You know, all Light can do is try to sandbag progress by planting mines and then trying to run further back. One tank gets clipped at the very end there, bumping into a vulture on the way out. And once he sieges up here, and notice he even hugs the wall, so it's like hard to get surface area. He doesn't want this spread out. He has the vultures just in the front, just enough. The barracks just enough in the front that the Marine targets it. Very subtle, but that happens too. Pulls the vultures back just enough to let his own tanks soak up damage so that his vultures can then clear out the SCVs. I mean, it was so good. And I almost also wish we would have shown the 2 factories, not being spotted again.
Yeah.
Because it was like literally just out of vision. It was like a perfect magic trick.
That was a crazy game. Crazy game. We're going to go to a commercial break, then Royal versus Sharp to see who goes to the next round.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구석은 사양할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
너 뭘 어떻게 할래?
형이 하는 게 낫지 않을까?
아, 내가 말하고?
오케이. 제가 먼저.
뭐야, 야, 걸려?
아야, 아무 어때?
저기서? 마인? 이거 뭐야?
나
저기서
나 뭐해? 마이가 했잖아. 나 뭐하냐? 하나, 둘, 셋.
이거 뭐야?
It's me.
마왕?
너.
기호가
너.
기호가 테란.
MBTI. MBTI. 머리.
해피?
머리.
머리?
MBTI. 머리.
헤어밴드?
안 돼?
넘어가.
스탁 테란 배틀 크루저 배틀 크루저
왜 질럿이야?
배틀 크루저 야마토포 배틀 크루저
뭐라는 거야?
배틀 크루저 150
뭐라는지 모르겠는데.
너랑 난 2개 맞췄다.
3개 아니야? 3개가?
2개야 2개. 너무 아쉽네요.
근데 이거 잘 맞추기 어렵다 이거. 딴 애랑 다 똑같아요.
그 가족을 할까에서 했던 거지.
너도 그 세대야?
그거 다 알죠. 형 설명 잘해요?
나 설명 잘 못하지.
그럼 제가 설명해볼게요. 근데 스트레스는 저만 해야 되는 거 아니에요? 와 노래 진짜 크다.
들리는 거 아니야 이거? 안 들리네.
경경 씨, 이현경, 내 누나
안 들려.
내 누나
안 들려.
내 누나. 우리 SSL 이거 들고 읽어주시는 분 진행해주고.
티어풀 마이크 뭐
네.
아니 설명을 안 하고 몸으로
어딨어? 왜 없어?
몸으로 설명을 안 하고.
레드 북제요. 김태경이 지은 거.
안 들린다고 말을 하지 말고 몸으로 설명을 해줘.
레드
의자
북 제호. 레드 북 제호. 레드 북. 아이 울라리 이건 또 뭐야? 울라리? 패스. 저거 KB 국민은행 스폰서 은행.
KB
국민은행.
KB 국민은행
총사령관 형. 별명.
총사령관
쉽다 이거. 질럿. 이거 유닛이에요. 유닛. 질럿. 두두두. 성격 유형. ISTJ 뭐 이런 거. 성격 유형.
말을 하지 말고 행동으로 해줘. 행동으로.
아니 이게 설명으로 안 되는 거라고. 아니 설명을 못 하는 거다. MBTI라고 무슨 울라리 이걸 어떻게 설명을 해?
울라리? 이거 어떻게 설명해? 이거.
레드 북제 했어요? 뭐 했어? 나 못 맞춘 줄 알아.
빨간색 한 다음에 이렇게 하길래.
와 센스 있다. 와. 어디 갈등이에요?
일단 일정형이랑 이제 뭔가 겹치는데 닉네임이랑 뭔가 잘 맞네요. 상품도 사가는 것 같고 기분이 좋습니다.
그동안에도 이런 거 했을 때 1등을 한 번도 못 해봤는데 이제 SSL로 바뀌어서 그런지 좀 기운이 좀 달라진 것 같고 1등한 만큼 또 1등 해보도록 하겠습니다.
We are so back. It's best of 3 time. Enough of these silly best of 1s.
This is
Tastosis?
This is going to be great. No, I was coughing. Sorry, I still have a little bit of a head cold. Trying to mute my mic when I cough instead of just cough right into your ears. But yeah, best of 3 between Royal and Sharp. So this is going to be weird, right? because these two play completely oppositely, right? Like, for instance, Royal is looking to get an edge in the beginning of the game. He's going to have great builds and like try to get that edge. I don't think against another pro gamer I've ever seen Sharp ahead at the beginning of a Terran versus Terran. The style he plays,
Yeah.
like the thing is, he's very good. He's got a huge win rate. He can beat everyone in TVT for sure. But like, he almost doesn't know how to not play from behind. Like, he doesn't do the best builds, but he knows how to play it. So like, it'll be a position that looks bad, then he'll be like, I don't know, and he flies around dropships for 15 minutes and wins the game. So it's a weird thing to see, and I think we'll see some of that here.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, in the top left is Sharp, in the bottom left is Royal. I like the way that you were describing Sharp before we got right into the game, Tastosis. He's always had a very different, weird build in all the matchups.
Yeah.
That kind of works for him, and it makes it hard to prep against him. Thinking back to his TVP days, when we had the map Eclipse, Protosses were all going for gas steal on that map, and he was the only guy that would preemptively take his own gas.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit weird. A lot of Terrans thought that wasn't the right way to do it, but he thought it was the right way to do it. And you're right about his TVT. He does seem to move out on the map. Oh, thank you so much from Canada.
All right. Canadians are just the best.
They're the best. So he would do these weird builds where, yeah, you're right. Like he tries to get ahead by taking engages, and a lot of times that backfires, but he'll still kind of power through it. Oh, cool kid, support the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Check it out, guys, at patreon.com/ASL English.
Yeah, you just prompted our Patreon plug, which we had forgotten to do until we saw that sign.
Yeah,
guys, if you want to sign up for the cause, it's appreciated. Sign up for a year. It would mean the world to us. A long time ago, Africa TV thought, well, maybe the English audience wasn't that into it. Maybe we should just pull out. And they did. We ended up not casting in the studio anymore. So we put this Patreon together, and it totally worked out. So if you want to support us in our endeavor to keep the history, the past, the present, the future of StarCraft 1 alive, consider signing up.
Thank you very much. And thank you for bringing that sign down. You guys are great. So yeah. Anyways, you were talking about TVT and Sharp.
Oh yeah, he has very funny looking games at times. You're right that he always plays from behind, but he seems to be very good at that. I do worry a little bit about someone like Royal being able to sidestep, everything that Sharp does with these ingenious builds he has. He's really put a lot of thought into what looks like the mundane parts of the matchup. Like what he did to Light. The idea that Light, of all players, would be completely duped in the first maybe pre-10 minutes of a game to the point where he's knocked out by a crazy timing push all in is remarkable.
Yeah. Well, I guess to try to pin the tail on the donkey or something like that, basically what happens in TVT early game is Sharp generally doesn't battle for map control at the beginning of the game. A lot of people do, so you'll see things like 3-factory Vulture versus 3-factory Vulture, and they'll add a 4th factory and things like that, and there'll be a lot of jockeying for that type of play, whereas Sharp is more likely to open mines or Goliaths or something like that, let you have map control, go kind of for a higher unit quality. He's likely to go earlier drop ships, like in mass, than most players, and just kind of tactically outplay, which I guess that's something that you can kind of see across everything Sharp does. He's probably the most, or at least the highest level, tactic-based Terran, right? Like his wins are so oftentimes off of tactical plays rather than strategy or build order or micro or macro. Obviously, all those things are part of it, but really it's about how he moves his units around, how he takes an engage, what angle he's coming in from, that type of thing. that gives him a lot of wins.
Yeah, these two players very different from each other. Royal, much more of the build order guy, the chess player, the strategist. So it should be fun. I think in order to look at this game and understand it best, I think it's probably important to look at it from Royal's perspective first, as we wait to see what kind of tactics Sharp might try to lay up over here. But it's going to be a pretty slow game to start. Both sides are going for command centers. The second factory is started here for Royal. Is it a star port up there for Sharp, or is that a factory put further away? Okay,
Yeah.
it's just a further away factory.
Yeah, people really like that further away factory. It's a very common thing at the pro level is you kind of hide it. And in fact, we saw Royal had an SCV in kind of a further away spot, and then he actually decided to build it right underneath. Not entirely sure why he's deciding that exact thing, but yeah, Sharp gets the scout off. Both sides, by the way, I think going for siege tanks pretty quick. I think Sharp is about to have one pop out. Look at this little poke from Royal. This can actually be really scary. If you're making vultures and this comes, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's his tank. Oh, he was hiding it. That's what was going on. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see the tank there at first initially. I thought, oh, this is going to be a problem. He has to respect the tank and run away, but a second tank is going to come in here.
Yeah, and this is something that can decide the game really super fast. If your opponent's tanks beat your tanks, it's huge. If they have tanks and you don't have tanks, it's huge. The tank is just, oh, and actually Sharp gets the first volley there and flanks. Oh, Royal is, oh, that's bad for Royal. That's very bad.
Full-on tactics game where it's like,
yeah,
we're so good, man.
That is exactly what we saw.
Yeah. It's like, but Royal is so strong but slow, but Sharp is small and fast.
Yeah,
Like we've got our guys typecast entirely. Losing the tank is huge because the tank really is the backbone of your army. Remember that on this map, and it's true for TVT, but it's true for so many of the other matchups, this donut shape in the middle that's high ground, if you get enough stuff up there, like mines and tanks, it's really hard to push up. There is chance to miss when firing from low ground up to high ground, and the chance to miss is very high, to the point where high ground to low ground fights with ranged units, basically the high ground units always win if it's a fair fight.
Oh, for sure. There's just, statistically, you can't win it as low ground. And they'll start with like a vision advantage too. Now, Sharp actually, like, he kind of had some map control there, but he actually backed up. He laid a few mines and said, okay, gonna back up, play a more defensive stance. And Royal, you saw, actually threw down a starport really quickly. And that was kind of important because a lot of players would have actually stayed on that high ground where Sharp laid the mines and said, okay, I'm going to reinforce here. And we're going to maybe even decide the game really early on. And see, he canceled it as soon as he took that high ground because you don't actually want the starport. The starport's an emergency building for when you get a containment. You need things like a Wraith or a dropship to try to upset the situation. Now, Sharp actually is back here in this defensive stance and has a really great arc of his vultures and tanks.
Yeah, it seems like he's starting to win this fight. A couple of mines are going to be pushed down here. At this point in time, Royal is leading with his tanks since they have more HP so that the injured vultures in the back can do a little bit more damage. And, I mean, he's starting to do it. He's going to scan. He wants to make sure he doesn't dive into any spider mines that could completely mess up the fight. He's going to push a little bit further in. Two Goliaths are going to come up towards the ramp. The tanks siege up. The split in damage is pretty crazy, but the Goliaths, 3 in number now, are going to be able to take this tank out, and the Goliaths will beat vultures in these small skirmishes like this.
Yeah, that was really big that he killed the 3 tanks because that was not going Sharp's way at all. And now he pushes everything back, and with the tank reset, these 2 Goliaths will make a big difference. Royal may try to keep pushing, but because there's mines out, I think it might be time to slow this game down a little bit.
Yeah. Is it better to maybe siege only 1 tank there and then try to kite a little bit, or is it just too hard to call in a moment like that?
Oh, do you mean that big engagement we had?
Yeah, the one where the 3 tanks were killed, because it feels like there was probably a better way to handle that.
I don't think he had siege mode yet. Normally you don't get it for that early stage of the game. That's actually part of why he tricked Light so bad, is that Light's like, what, you have siege mode already? That's kind of crazy. But yeah, in a situation like that, if someone sieges, you're missing so much damage, like your opponent can run up and target your tanks. So like, yeah, in those smaller fights, generally, it's not about siege. unless you're like at range. Nice little harassment here from Royal. Gets a few SCVs. Sharp taking a bit of damage. And he actually scouts the starport, which is really, really, really important. Seeing that there's already 2 wraiths, Sharp has to move out with those wraiths right now to gain value. Because there's going to be anti-air like in 30 seconds here.
Yeah, the starport starting here for Royal. This position he's fought to try to control here is going to be under threat. The Wraiths will eventually kill the tank, but obviously they don't do that much damage that quickly. That's why ideally you'd always want to hide these. Actually, I think these SCVs are going to repair this in time. This is so funny. He could save it. Oh!
Yeah.
He's got enough.
That was smart to send like 5.
So it's one of the reasons why you see players generally bank up a lot of tanks. Or sorry, a lot of wraiths before they send them out. Because if you've got a lot, then you could just start to kill things quickly. But when you have 1 or 2, you know, it's going to be a lot of bruises before you see any blood. So, you know, these tanks still haven't been picked off. I think right at this point in time, you're happy to sack some SCVs. Sharp has gone underneath the position here from Royal, and he is going to plant mines here. So he's really kind of surrounded him, at least from the north and from the south. Not a lot of places that he can go to, and the Wraiths are buying a lot of time here. I mean, Sharp isn't getting the tank kills he wanted to, although that may start in a second here.
Dude, did he just not have an armory at all? He just didn't?
I don't know. I mean, that must have been what happened back there, because it doesn't make any sense. We would have had a Goliath here a while back.
I think
he's going to eventually... Go ahead.
I think he didn't have an armory. And look at this. Now Sharp runs in with the Vultures. He's won this game almost. Like, you might be able to recover and kind of play something from here. The amount of SCVs he's killed is absurd. And, like, this shows when optimization goes wrong, when you're like, I can't get an armory. It's like, dude, you have 4 factories in expansion, just make an armory. It's 100 minerals and 50 gas.
The voice for the player that can't get an armory.
Yeah. It's like, well, I just need this optimized that much. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. This is why Sharp is such a good player, because he'll just have the fucking armory. You know, it's like, okay, I've got all these tools. How do I make them work? Whereas Royal's like, everything has to be perfect. And then he loses like 10 SCVs to 3 Wraiths. It's super painful. Now, Royal is trying to do some counterplay, but look who has an armory.
It is painful how long those Wraiths at the bottom did damage for. Like, I kept trying to move on to something else, and I look back and go, nah, they're still there. Still 2 base versus 2 base, powering up pretty hard. It seems like the no man land is being set up, or was being set up, although Sharp seems to want to ditch it, maybe try to find another position, maybe try to go around to the side. The 3rd base is on this map. If you take the natural 3rd base for Sharp, it's going to be very close to Royal. Royal's 3rd base is pretty far away, but it's going to be Sharp taking the initiative and trying to move through here and take out the tanks and vultures and mines that are going to be protecting that position. And so far, so good.
He's smashing. Like, Sharp is way outdoing Royal here. Look at Royal. Looks like he's way slumped to the side because his jacket's not on straight. That's actually really bothering me.
That's actually true. It actually looks like his shoulders falling off.
Yeah.
He's like a dummy that was built wrong or something. Like, we got to send him back to the shop. But that's how awkward this game has been. Is his clothes are being worn weirdly right now.
I know. It's
kind of like you look at Sharp, and I mean, look, actually, he's kind of built sideways too, man. He's got his one shoulder way out forward. This game is bad for you, by the way, guys. Just to be clear.
This is not the healthiest video game that we have. That's for sure.
When it's 100 years of StarCraft and they dig up the skeletons, and you're going to see scoliosis, kyphosis, all sorts of osises.
Artosis.
You're going to have artosis, all of it.
Yeah.
Just twisted spines and crooked backs.
Dude,
look
I
at that.
tell
It's
you,
almost like each shoulder is like like if you look at the screen right now, it's like each shoulder is holding something up in the middle. Like they're carrying something. Do you see this a little bit?
No, I do see it. Yeah, it's like they're bracing themselves forward a little bit there. But actually, that's like the chair on the Royal's left shoulder on our right. The chair kind of looks like it's his shoulder. He kind of looks a little Quasimodo-ish, but it's actually, if you look really closely, that's the chair.
Oh, I think you're right. I think a little bit of it is the chair. Oh, yeah, you're right. I actually thought his shoulder was like going into his ear.
I did too, and now I see it more clearly because I'm like, you're right. What is this?
I wish you hadn't told everybody that. I kind of like the idea that Royal becomes this Quasimodo character when he's playing the game.
So,
well, anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
We got the science facility coming down now. Royal's pretty surrounded. Sharp's taking his 4th. I mean, there is no way for Royal to get anywhere on the map by ground without having to hack and saw his way through a lot of defenses here from Sharp.
Yeah, and the fact that Sharp already has missile turrets up makes this so much harder. Like, the most direct path, like, towards his base is already kind of sealed up a little bit. He's laying mines all over the place. Look at the, like, dude, this is so well done from Sharp. Royal is in a terrible spot. When you're in a spot like this, like, generally you'd try to get out one time and then you just leave if you're on the ladder because it's just not going to happen. Now, he is trying to push out this side. There were only 4 tanks, and it looks like he will mostly break out. It's definitely not super cost efficient for him. He mostly breaks out, but Sharp can just send more units and have a slightly further back line. I mean, I guess Royal in some ways makes a little bit of progress over here, but Sharp has so much control of the map right now.
I gotta say, Sharp looks so good. I mean, Royal's gonna be having an uphill fight, but you know, Sharp's supply is almost to 140. This is about a 30 supply lead for the time being. Sharp even has mines in the bottom right. I mean, he's basically on top of everything. In the next 5 minutes, if Royal can't come up with something, Sharp's gonna be immeasurably ahead.
Yeah, he's getting that 4th base up and mining, and like, you can play 3 base versus 4 base for a while in TVT, but it just kind of won't last. Like, you'll have the same amount of units for a while, and then Sharp will just make another command center, and there will be no coming back from there. So, like, Royal's really got to get something done. And the thing is, he's already down in supply. So not only is that base later, he's like making these dropships. I don't know if he's going to have great success with them. Sharp already has 3 of his own. So if he loads up, like, that's one of the big counters of dropships. It's like, if you're ahead in Terran versus Terran, generally the best thing to do, lay mines, make turrets, siege tanks, but fly around with dropships and counter drop their drop. It's like, wherever they drop, you go there and drop. And you just stay on top of them like that.
Sharp getting top 4 last season, I mean, it's no surprise. We really, I think, again, like we do every season, have to kind of put this guy in a different position here for where he is. I mean, Light and Royal are so godlike, but Sharp is bringing the same Sharp we saw that looked so scary in the round of 4 in all of season 17 of ASL. And I don't see Royal having any kind of real out right now. I mean, Sharp is about to spike into maxed out. He's got a beautiful surround. He has every other base with a mine edit. He's now taking his 5th base while Royal's on 4. Royal's going to go for drop ships. This is going to be a real Hail Mary here.
Yeah. It's either he goes all in to attack Sharp with this, or he tries a really weird game where he drops in the top right and denies extra bases. It looks like he's going to go pretty all in with it. And, you know, he does have a couple more drop ships. Ooh! All these turrets.
Oh,
dude,
I don't like
dead.
this.
He's dead. That is just absolutely not going to work for him. Like, he'll deal some damage in here for sure, but this is very cleanable. Like, you can pull your SCVs, bring a few more units up, and this is gone. Just not enough for Royal. He loses all of his dropships. He's still contained. Sharp is taking another base. Royal can, I was going to say he can stay in the game, but there's really no point. He's just going to get tired.
That was such a dominant TVT.
Yeah.
Tastosis, you were talking about how a lot of times Sharp is playing from behind, which is true, by the way. We've casted many seasons of him playing here in Korea. Dude, he looks so scary. He set up with the lead. Royal fought, I think, a really good fight. He had his moments there. Sharp just pulled in this overwhelming lead.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So I tell you, Sharp is just, he's such a strong player. It's unbelievable when you see what he can get done in certain situations. For instance, when those 3 tanks and the vultures came up and he lost his tanks, and then 2 Goliaths came out, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. It's like 3 tanks in siege mode on the high ground for Royal. And he just walks up to the tanks and kills them off, and then lays some additional mines, and what do you do from there? You know? Sharp just playing Sharp TBT.
Dominator coming up next. Coming up right now, guys. We're going to continue on with this best of 3. Remember, the winner is moving on into that round of 8 spot. Only 2 spots remaining for this season of the SSL.
We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, bottom left here is Royal. Center right is Sharp. Obviously, starting out on the low ground is always a factor on a map like this. I don't know what if it really plays a special role here in TVT, but I think the bigger idea to keep in mind on this map is that the mains are very, very droppable. And a lot of Terran vs. Terrans are ended with the main being dropped and the factories and depots being wiped in a way that's so crippling that it's pretty difficult to recover from.
Yeah, and you can siege those mains from high ground really, really easily. Map control is incredibly important on Dominator. And, you know, there's a lot of bases and everything as well. There's a lot of different paths around the map, so vultures are going to be important. A lot of the things about Dominator make me nervous about Sharp and how he generally plays. Like, is he going to lose map control quickly? But, you know, he knows how to get out of those positions anyways. One thing to note is that positionally speaking, Sharp has a much better spot here. Always on 3-player maps in TVT, it's really hard to have your opponent behind you, right? So you see how the natural Sharp leads towards the back of the main of Royal? Like, this is just, TVT 3-player maps are weird like this, where whoever is in that position, if they are playing kind of an aggressive forward game, you have to be very careful, because all they need to do is get 1 or 2 dropships when they're kind of close to your main, and then suddenly, bam, they're ferrying units over into your main base. Your units have such a long distance to go, you get in a lot of trouble. We saw a lot of games like that on Sylphid, and Dominator generally ends up playing the same way.
For now, we're going to have Gas Tech here for Sharp. Seems like Royal is saving up to get his command center, so slightly different openings.
Yeah, gasless expand there for Royal, and we'll see if Sharp gets to scout him first or second with this SCV. Yeah, he's going to scout him first, so that's kind of nice. It's going to allow him to adjust his build order a little bit here. We'll see if he tries to put any pressure on. It is possible. Did he just put a second SCV on gas?
Oh, I did not see.
Okay, no, there's just 1 on gas. Never mind.
Yeah.
It looked like he did.
It looks like just 1.
It might have been like, sometimes you pull an SCV that's coming back onto gas and you take the gas SCV off to build a depot or something like that. Sometimes it's a little bit easier. But he sees that it is a gasless expansion. And I think he just put his SCVs back on gas. I think he's going to cheese.
Yeah, I think you're right, Artosis. So this would just be a straight-up siege tank push, right?
Yeah, most likely. Like, you have to go siege tank. Like, there's no other way to break through the bunker that's going to be made. But, like, you could go 2 factory, or you actually can go for, like, a 1 factory and expand a little bit later and just put pressure on with, like, Marine siege tank. Ooh, a little mistake there from Sharp, letting that Marine get hit. But the thing is, I think that Starport plus factory plus barracks is probably the hardest thing to hold on against. But he wasn't mining gas the whole time, so he can't really afford siege mode, 2 siege tanks, and yeah, so he's making a command center, but he's getting extra gas right now. So we'll see what that's going to be all about.
Yeah, so it's not a cheese, it's not a, well, it could be some kind of a post-second base rush. The Marines are going to be pushing across the map. You know, when Sharp sends his barracks out to scout, it's going to see those 3 Marines. You do not have any way to stay alive versus these 3 Marines. That only matters for the Marine and SCV that are over here. Oh, okay, the Vulture's going to come out just in time. And it looks like he's actually going to keep the SCV alive. So perfect hold. I stand corrected. I thought there was, for some reason, a tank making. I guess we were talking about it so much, I just decided that was going to come out and that the Marines would just get the kills because of that there.
He might have actually, honestly, Tastosis, I think a tank was making, and he saw the Marines coming, he canceled and went Vulture.
Okay.
I think that's probably what happened because, yeah, it doesn't make sense too much to not make a tank there. Like, the tank is going to pressure more.
It was just a Vulture with a really long build time.
Yeah. He's added a second factory. I feel like Royal having his SCV over there in his base kind of screwed Sharp up slightly. Because his build doesn't seem well optimized for the amount of gas he got. So I'm not entirely sure. And there is the siege tank. So it looks like he's going to put a little bit of pressure on with the tanks, but it's probably going to be tank Vulture. This is like how Mind was playing TVT a couple seasons ago against this build, if that's what he's going for. But there's actually a starport coming up for Royal, which is going to screw up the plans of Sharp. A fair amount, but actually he's making Marines.
He's got Marines.
Dude, that's actually that's good.
Over here.
Yeah, if you have 3 Marines, it kills the Wraith, so that's really good.
Hey, here's a question. If you have SCVs repair this bunker on the left side, will the siege tank shots that are hitting also damage the SCVs?
If they repair on the left side, you'll have to target the SCVs themselves.
Okay, so they can kind of avoid it. Well, here comes the push now. Remember that there is a Wraith coming out, so it's important to keep the Marines alive as long as possible. The targeting from the tank is very good. He has just...
no way!
Oh, my God.
Oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. Is he going to get it? Oh, my God. I can't believe that. That siege tank being saved is so crazy. You feel so bad here as Sharp. Oh, the mines are going to be very nice. He needs to get it. He needs to get it. Come on. Come on.
He got it. He takes that out. No scopes the tank. He's starting to really build up some pressure here. If he can get a tank in siege mode and stop tanks from getting up the ramp. Oh, dude, there's not a lot of surface area here. The mines could get a little crazy, Artosis.
Yeah, he's going to be so careful. Now, he has a Wraith coming in. Marines are being made, which will be a little bit annoying. I think that Royal will... I think he's going to be able to end up holding this. Oh, my God.
Hold on.
The mines,
the Marine's going to kill it.
Oh, my God. Tastosis.
Okay, so he can get the Vultures over here. The tank can't shoot this in. Bro.
That's it. That's it. He's got it. Sharp has it. Dude, Sharp is so good.
Sharp
oh, my
is a
God.
killer, man.
Oh, my God. What a kill here. Dude, the Marine production was MVP as well. Because if you have like 2 Wraiths here, you actually start holding everything pretty strongly.
A lot of players will use the barracks floating to spot because it's tank versus tank, but the few Marines basically mute the power of the Wraiths.
Yeah.
So what do we have? 3 Wraiths right now for Royal? Or actually, I think it's 2, sorry.
Yeah, 2 now. 1 fell in the line of action there. Well, now there's all sorts of mines going down. Royal is still in the game, so maybe a little premature calling that is over, but like Sharp's position is really, really fantastic. Look at that, he has an armory, Tasteless. Isn't that crazy? He did get supply block though. There was a bit of a supply block. There was so much micro going on, I'm not too surprised. Those 44 and 52 depots, man, they're the hardest.
Well, now we've got 4 factories, excuse me, 4 factories coming here for Sharp. Sharp's still in pretty good shape. Royal was forced to spend his scans to kill the mines, so it's always a little bit less intel. It might be misleading to a player that doesn't play a lot. You think, why would you put mines there if they just scan and kill it? Well, now they can't check your tech. They can't check for expansions. They can't check for tanks on the map, so it's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Really, looking at the spot, I think Royal lost a lot of SCVs. I think he should be down really heavily SCV-wise here.
It is possible he's so low on SCVs that Sharp's next push just clobbers it, like regardless of what Royal tries to set up. Now, Royal is going to send these Vultures into a dropship. I think it's a smart idea, and this might move through the blind spot. No, it won't. Okay, so, you know, this is pretty bad now. Nothing's really worse than leaving your base with a dropship, and as you're leaving, it's spotted. And now you got to kind of figure out how to make use of it, and maybe you hide it somewhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, in that moment, they also know, well, that's 4 less vultures defending, or maybe 2 less tanks. I guess he never saw it load up, right?
Yeah, normally it would be vultures at this point. Like a 2-tank drop gets killed by SCVs.
Yeah, that would be very 1998 to have a 2-tank drop on 2 bases.
It's very Slayer's
It's like,
Boxer.
I saw Slayer's Boxer do this, yeah.
Really? That is so funny.
I'm
That
like,
is how he
or
used
an
to play.
8 SCV drop. I just name anything you could possibly do at this phase of the game. It's like, well,
If you're going to do
all our
that,
bases.
you want 7 SCVs and a medic with them, really, to really make it
Yeah,
more
or
tanky.
yeah, or 2 Firebats, 2 medics, and a tank. I mean, it could be any kind of drop, right?
Well, then the SCVs can't clear the siege tank, can they?
That's true. I think we just fixed the meta.
Oh my gosh. I hope
So
the guys in the
the
chat don't hear about your idea of fire bats in this matchup. Yeah, a Wraith actually stops that dead in its tracks. It looks like Sharp. This is kind of a funny way he's going. He's trying to go around that floating barracks, it looks like. Okay, well, I mean, the barracks is going to see this all coming out from a funny angle. I'm not sure why he went that way, but I guess it doesn't matter.
By the
that
way,
much.
the barracks, no barracks means you can't make more factories. I think Royal was on 3 right now, so he was at a moment where he probably wanted to get a couple more. Ooh, I don't know about this. Royal needs to be careful. Sharp is not going to dive, though. He backs up. The drop, you know, he's found this funny little nook that is out of tank range, but with a Wraith out here, this is going to be wiped.
Yeah, and down goes that dropship, so Sharp continues to keep that kind of advantage. Look at this, and now Royal is moving through that area. I think he's looking for an expansion, though, and there was an SCV there, so he denies Sharp's thoughts of getting an expand up. Sharp moving through the center of the map right now. Going to clear some of these mines out. Well, a mine did hit those 2 tanks. That's kind of a big deal. This is a pretty big army from Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp is going to try to flatten this. It's just the tanks left over here.
Dude.
The mines are going to surround this tank and take it out. The 2 tanks left over are stuck, marooned down here in the bottom. The Wraith is going to be chased out here as well. This is getting really bad for Royal because I don't think a 3rd base is coming anytime soon. Granted, right now, and actually just in TVTs in general nowadays, they seem to 2-base pretty hard. The pressure's really on. I mean, when you drop that many tanks, it really starts to hurt. He's going to run in, plant some mines, use the vision distance to get some extra shots off on that, and that's that.
And by the way, this pizza slice right here is the most important one on the whole map. What I was talking about at the beginning, how if the player behind you pressures you heavily, you have to really watch for that. Because if Sharp takes that pizza slice, he can siege on the high ground, make 1 dropship, and start ferrying down and screw up your main base. So, like, Royal has to hold this pizza slice right here. It is so incredibly important.
Artosis is referring to all the little, it looks like little pizza slices in the middle of the map here. The light colored ground there on the pizza slices is high ground, where the dark is low ground. So if you get on any of those, you've got a high ground advantage, just like that over there, or up there. Just to be clear, because I know a lot of people watch and don't really play, so
yeah, we call them
they
pizza
might be eating
slices.
their pizza right now. They're just at home watching with a box of pizza. Like, how do they know I have pizza?
Oh, we know. That's what you guys.
Oh, we know.
That's what nerds eat while they watch video games. Is pizza, man. Pizza and Doritos.
Pizza is made for maybe I don't know, Mountain Dew Code Red. You got your old gamer setup. I get it.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with your pizza, you're not going to wash your hands. You're going to pet your dog instead. You're going to wipe your hands on your dog and then go back to watch more StarCraft. We know.
We
know.
Yeah. All right, so Sharp is taking his 3rd, or well, not his 3rd. His 3rd is his mineral base, but he is taking that bottom right gas base. He has the mineral-only base, so that is definitely doing very well for him. And the Cloaked Wraiths here, this is one thing that's actually going really well for Royal, is he has been able to kind of have some
What
air
am I
control.
looking at?
That was some misclicks. He was
That was
dude.
a level of misclicks that was crazy.
Oh man.
It was synchronized swimming misclicks.
Yeah. Well, he was trying to do like the super heavy, like Mutalisk style micro. It's just like not making the armory. I'm like, dude, you just click the dropship and get out of there. Come on.
Right click and go do something else.
You can't help it. He has to do the pro gamer moves, Tastosis. He has to have no armory to make sure he's completely optimized, and he has to make sure that he's microing the Wraiths even against something
He's got to have
that
Jade
can't
on
get away.
mute and micro on the Wraiths and just misclick on the dropship.
Jesus.
Crazy.
You know, the thing is, I love it, and it's beautiful. And then you see stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, we're going too far. This is too far, guys. There is a point where we have to turn around and say, no. Like, regular actions here are good enough.
Okay, there's a dropship moving out. Could go to this base in the far bottom right. It looks like there's a turret, maybe some mines. It's always funny to see people plant mines in the mineral patches because if he drops later there, his drop will succeed in blowing up all of his opponent's workers.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that either. But, you know, maybe killing the units in that case will be all right. Now, Royal's actually done a very good job fighting back so far. Sharp definitely still ahead, and he's going to clear here. That was a bit of an overextension by Royal to even have any siege tanks up there, I think. He does do a little harassment of his own, which is nice. He's going to have to... Ooh, really good siege here by Sharp. Really good siege. He's killing off so many fringe units. Like, Royal was trying to half-map it already. And it's like a big mistake. The fact that he had tanks up at, like, in front of the natural of the third main... That's so greedy at like 130, 140 supply. Because on a 3-player map, if someone gets the other main, they basically win, right? Because it's Terran versus Terran. You can't really split the map. 3-player maps have a lot of action, but hold on. We have Sharp just doing a giant attack because Royal has so many units out of position up the top. He's going to smash this.
I didn't know Sharp was going to be this much better than Royal. Like, I think we've done a pretty decent job trying to analyze this game, but there's even more going on than what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He's getting so far ahead in every way, it's actually just incredible to me. Like, I think that we're probably going to see Royal tap out in a second here.
Yeah. There's nothing left.
And, you know, I never really thought of Sharp's TVT when I think about him. You know, I thought about his TVP or his TVZ a lot, but my God. He clearly is worthy of exiting this group right away.
No, he smashed Royal here, without question. He just way outplayed him. Great plays from Sharp. God, I love his style. Wins the group easy. You can see how happy he is with himself. Right into that round of 8. No map losses. Fantastic play from Sharp.
Man, Royal was really humbled here. I feel like I haven't seen Royal humbled like that in seasons and seasons of ASL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is wild, dude. We're left over with Light, Royal, and Stork.
Yeah. Man.
You know, we've had, by the way, round of 24, round of 16, we've had a lot of groups where, like, the guy that gets out first, when you look at the games, it's very obvious, but it wasn't the guy we were predicting. I bet it's the same for a lot of people at home. I think a lot of people thought Sharp very good, but maybe not getting out first, maybe not getting out at all, maybe getting out second, something like that. Maybe same thing with Barracks or some of these other guys. Like, just Sharp looked like, you know, I've said this before, but I think it's you know, a good comparison. It's like when all the RPG stats are maxed out higher. You know?
Yeah.
He's like level 70 and everything is higher, and then you just got Royal and he's like level 45 or something. The dexterity, the intelligence, the mana, whatever you want to, you know, whatever the attributes are. It's like Sharp just had everything here. And the way he plowed through this, he gets all of his tanks to siege up, or in this case, look, not. He knows he can go even further with this. Then he shoves with the vulture bikes. Plants mines around the small number of tanks to really close the position in there. While that's happening, he unsieges other tanks to leapfrog forward.
Yeah, this was ridiculously dominant. You know, Royal, honestly, I didn't feel like Royal played that well. He had a great build against Light, but you look at some of these things, how he has tanks way up to the top when he's behind on supply. I mean, you're hoping that Sharp isn't aware of what's going on in the map. And Sharp is one of the most active Terran players. Like, he's one of the guys that really figures that out, so... Really well done. We're going to go to an interview and see what Sharp's thinking about that dominating victory.
KBL KB리브 모바일과 함께하는 2024 숲스타리그 어텀
You're watching Group D of the round of 16 of KB Live Mobile 2024 Soup StarLeague Autumn as we have our first player through to the round of 8 today. Let's talk to Shaw. Congratulations. Thank you.
시드자로서 굳건하게 또 승리를 가져가고 8강에
A steadfast performance coming out of our seeded player today as he advances to the quarterfinals. How do you feel? All of the seeded players made it through this season, and I felt I was lacking in comparison with them. But advancing like this makes me feel real good.
시드 중에서는 내가 조금 부족한 부분이 많은 것 같다고
You said the same thing in the pre-game interview that compared to the other seeded players you felt inferior, but in the games themselves you showed no fault. The games were seamless. Do you think you managed to show everything you had prepared? So taking the first set in the winners match against Royal, as we went into the second one, I felt that luck was on my side today. And that I'm playing exactly the way I had prepared is how I felt. Looking back on that first set against Royal, you confirmed his double factory and then quickly took down the one tank he had sent forward. Is this something you kept in mind having seen the game between Light and Royal? I was impressed with how tight the build Royal prepared against Light was. I thought if we end up playing on the same map, I need to take control of the high ground quickly. I can't get pushed back from there. I think I adapted well. If I hadn't done so, things would have got weird quick. And with just the right amount of Goliaths, you stayed in control of the high ground. On the second map as well, having gained an advantage, you kept making vultures and being aggressive to take the center of the map. This is a map where you have to keep feeling your opponent out with vultures. I finally found an opening and I think I just attacked into it well. You prepared that late game macro build for the game against Stork, where whenever he started moving to go for an attack, you would let that come in and receive it. Is this how you should macro on Radion? I'm an aggressive player, however you look at it, which is something Stork would have expected. It's a mind game where I make it seem like I might go or might not go. I had to kick it up a notch because it's a match here in the studio. It seemed to work well. You controlled the pace really well in both the versus Protoss and versus Terran today. It'll be interesting to see what tactics, what master plan you prepare for the best of 7 in the quarterfinals. There are so many different races you can beat in the round of 8. Right. You know this, right? It's going to be either Rush, Hero or Snow. Some of the best players of their respective races, they all made it through in second place. I bet that regardless of who you end up running into, you are aware that you'll have to prepare very thoroughly. Is there one race you prefer? I've played against Terran, I've played against Protoss. Now Hero, I mean getting revenge on Hero, Snow plays so well, Rush plays so well too, I really don't know. I'll just have to play relaxed, I can't be uncomfortable. So can I just not worry about who I end up picking for you? Yes, please, don't worry about it at all. Okay, understood. Can't wait to see who ends up being your round of 8 opponent. You've had a lot of your colleagues showing up today, the fans were ever so active. Any words of thanks? Most importantly, Jungman, the boss of our university team, whenever he shows up, I win everything, so thank you for your hard work. And our Jungman girls, they were cheering so well today. And it's one of theirs birthday today, so happy birthday. And another one, she's like the leader, so good work as well. And now the friends who helped me practice: YSC, Snow, Rain, Rush, and Mong. And thanks to the fact that my wife is by my side, I did so well. Thank you so much.
얌지금 씨도 오늘 저한테
And a friend by the name of Yamjigum sent me a message telling me to do well. So thank you for that. I wanted to express my thanks.
네,
I'll
조기석
prepare
선수
well
다시
for the
한번
round of 8
8강
and play my best.
축하드립니다. 인터뷰 고맙습니다.
Once again, congratulations on making the quarterfinals. Thanks for the interview.
자, 이렇게 오늘의 첫
Thank
번째
you.
8강 진출자 조기석 선수와 함께했습니다. 계속해서
And there you have your first player through to the round of 8 today in Sharp. Let's now take a look at the viewer event we have going on. It's a winners prediction contest that you can participate in through the Africa TV esports page with SSL fans and carry bags up for grabs in a raffle between those who correctly predict the first and second players to advance. We have but one spot left in the round of 8 this season. Who will grab that last ticket? We'll take a short break and return with the losers match between Stork and Light.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구석은 사양할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs bloom. Don't turn all of my stones. Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Not the boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO. When the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle. I was born to grind. Yo, I'm scared of your potential. I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man. Of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic. I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip. I'm fighting clocks and they can't win. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way grown. Trying to find my way back home. Count my wounds as some desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way grown. Trying to find my way back home. Ooh, that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh, get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo, personality spicy, body banging like a bongo, cause black women been it since Timbuktu since Pharaoh, sponge rollers and hot combs, lip sheets and brow bones, if you ain't for the culture then please stay out of my zone, these little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones, see I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there, if you want the battle ain't no problem, say where I got so much experience I can't even play fair, but I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids, took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way grown, trying to find my way back home, count my wounds as some desert crumbs flow, I'm gonna turn all of my stones, I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way grown, trying to find my way back home. Ooh, that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Hello, everybody. We have returned. It's time to eliminate one of these two players, Stork or Light. Now, Tastosis was saying, and I think he was basically correct, that, Stork is looking to be in much better shape, much more refined. He was always good enough to qualify for an ASL, now known as the SSL. But he usually didn't get far, and his play style kind of, it sort of showed that he didn't have the most modern, updated play, but he had a couple tricks up his sleeve that could maybe, rug pull a couple games from his opponent. Now he looks much stronger. At the same time, Light, about 3 years ago, we were saying maybe this is now the best Terran. Maybe this is the guy who is going to lead the charge for all the Terrans now that Flash is no longer playing in StarLeague. But didn't turn out to be the case. I mean, he had a couple moments that he was shining, but we've got so many good Terran players now. So I think there's a real shot that maybe Stork even beats Light here. Again, Light had a very one-sided, humiliating game, basically getting completely duped. Despite scouting, he missed all the important tech that would have let him know what was happening. So, yeah, let's see what happens.
I still think Stork's coming out of this group, Tastosis. So we'll see.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, Protoss here in the top left, Terran in the bottom left.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, let's see what kind of game Stork wants to bring here. I thought he looked very good. He did seem to struggle a little bit in the later game, just getting the bases up that he needs. But I do think the Terrans have gotten so good at basically causing distractions, making the game difficult to where it's not easy to get a Dragoon Observer sweep into certain parts of the map, especially when the drops are so threatening and are so, are so many.
Well, I think that Stork recently has been playing really well. It really, in my mind, did come down to that attack on
It's
4
another
bases.
Patreon sign.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys.
What is going
Appreciate it.
on? Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Sorry,
Ooh.
Tastosis. You were saying something important. I had to talk over you.
Yeah.
I saw the Patreon.
Oh, that's normal. So, well, I secretly hate you, Tastosis.
Look at all these carrier signs, by the way. Hey, shut up again. Look at all these carrier signs. Oh, hey, there's another Patreon sign. All right, now, sorry, you go ahead.
All right. So anyways, yeah, I actually remember, I can't remember whose guide it was. It was either Flash or Light who mentioned in one of these translated guides that I watched a long time ago, where if Protoss is attacking you on 4 base, like really attacking, they're a little bit all in with that. Like, you really, and you really see that reflected in any games. I'm sure you see it in your games. We see it with Stork versus Sharp earlier on. If you're doing an attack on 4 base, it has to work. Like, it has to work, because it's really hard to then refill your army and make a 5th base. It's similar to Terran versus Terran that we were talking about, where it's like, okay, Royal can make a lot of units on 3 bases, but without the 4th base, you're kind of all in with that, Like,
Right.
you need to get that 4th base up because it funds everything. That's what the 5th base is in Protoss versus Terran. The 5th base funds remaxing, tech switches, more nexuses. 4 bases is like enough to make a big, nice, strong army for Protoss, but like, if you're going to attack, you need it to work.
Yeah, that is very true. Normally the 5th base or one of those bases is going to be in another main. And by then you've kind of crossed the development finish line, PvT. Although, depending on how many other starting locations there are, obviously there are other bases you can take. But yeah, when you're on 5 bases, you can kind of constantly produce an army. You should have enough probes. Even if you lost some probes, it's very easy to remake probes on 5 nexuses, right? 2 probes at each nexus, and you've got 10 more probes suddenly. But, you're right. 4 bases PvT, it's a little bit too tight. It's a little bit too all in. It can work, and it does work all the time, but if you're not really focused on just making sure you've got another base and another base and another base, it's going to come down to one big fight. And a lot of times, the Terran, they can take 1 or 2 big fights, maybe better than the Protoss can. And that's when you're going to get punished.
Yeah, that's well said. Someone did the math once and told me a few years ago when I was getting some frustrations in TVP, believe it or not. But someone actually did the math on like number of bases, like how many times a Protoss can max off of one additional base. And it was like a really interesting stat. I'll have to see if I can find that again, because it kind of puts it into perspective where it's like, as you said, you cross the developmental finish line. It's like, yeah, okay, you need a certain amount of bases, and then like you kind of have your pylons and gates up, and then it's like, okay, every base might represent maxing out twice, So like, how many armies do you actually have at your disposal as Protoss? And yeah, at 4 bases, it's like basically 1. So, anyways, enough talk of that. Both of them expanding, everything looking pretty normal. Light is trying really hard to not make a bunker here. Very trendy right now. No one wants to make a bunker in this matchup. It just makes everything so much smoother if you don't need the bunker. It's kind of crazy how much, in fact. And Light pushes out with a single tank. He actually gets 3 really good shots on that goon.
Yeah, this is actually a little scary.
Yeah.
That Dragoon's almost dead. 39 HP left over. Only 2 gateways. I think he might have even cut a Dragoon here. He didn't have a pylon wall because he made his 3rd pylon inside of his main, which I understand because you are afraid of drops here, just like in the TVT we casted. Okay, hold on. I've never quite seen the 3 probe.
Yeah.
This is really interesting.
Yeah, I think he actually needs it because you need 4 goons here, and he doesn't have 4. Okay, I can't believe he got that mine. What world are we living in? How did he get that mine? That mine was underground.
Yeah, that was insane. That was so crazy to see. Good hold there. Looks like he might be able to snipe this 1 probe. Oh, actually, I think he can save it. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, very nice. All right, so this little pressure push from Light, I don't know if he got his armory or not. I was kind of watching the micro as opposed to where the buildings were going down. But Light likes pushes like that, where he pushes out with like a tank and a few mines, and then, or a tank and a few Marines, then lays a few mines down, that type of play. And look at that, he actually denies that probe at the 3rd base again. Really good move.
That was really cool to see. Getting the 3rd base a little bit later, it does hurt the Protoss. Obviously, they're going to eventually get it up, but you really need to, as you're making more and more probes, you want to send out, 8 to 10 of those workers and start to harvest at fresh mineral patches, because that way you don't have anywhere near as much stacking. And, Light's done a really good job of kind of getting in, getting his damage done. He's not throwing too many vultures away either, so he's still going to have his core bulk army there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got another vulture being sent out, and I'm sorry, actually, there still is not a nexus here.
Yeah.
At the 3rd.
Yeah, this is definitely turning into an issue. You definitely want your 3rd nexus started by now. We talked a lot about it yesterday with speed playing, about how basically, like, if you can slow the 3rd nexus down, that's already really, really good for Terran, because the 3rd nexus leads into the 4th, which leads into the 5th, right? Seems obvious, but like that's one of the big determining factors for where you're at in a given game is how quick those bases are. Oh no.
Oh my god, it's so painful. He slips through with 3 vultures. And, there's no observer speed here, so it takes so long to get down. 2 more vultures are going to come in. They're going to dive on top of the probes over here. This is how you lose games.
Yeah.
PvT is really all the number. Oh my god, I thought that mine was going to go.
Oh, tasteless.
Oh, no.
Tasteless.
Stork.
Oh my god, he's just been mangled now.
If this is my stream, I've already left the game.
Oh, for sure. Why would you stay in this
game? I'm so
game?
mad. I'm ready to ban people in my chat trying to explain to me I shouldn't have let that happen.
Yeah, well, if this is my game, I lose at 37 minutes to a recall from here. So
yeah, if this is your game, it's going www. This is happening.
Yeah, no, that was way too much damage. His 3rd base is delayed for 100 years. He's getting turrets up. Like, the Reaver is not going to do anything. Light is perfectly defended. He dealt so much damage to the probes. This feels to me like you go 6 factory and you just push him. And how do you ever hold that as Stork?
Well, it should be an easy game, right? I mean, Terran does have the benefit of when they've killed off enough probes and slowed the Protoss down enough, it's pretty hard for the Protoss to kind of force damage out. The only way you can do it is with a Reaver, which he is getting. So with really good Reaver shots, maybe Light can end up overextending. But right now, it's very tough to imagine this working. You know, the pylon walls never got up, and so we're seeing more and more and more probes just get picked off here. It's why you really can't let the first couple vultures get in, because after you've lost a couple probes, all your pylon walls are later. And you know, the pylon walls, before Protoss were using pylon walls, this was a very different matchup, by the way. Oh my God! Did it take damage? Okay.
Oh, I don't think it did. Really
no,
good
I think
pickups.
it actually is. Yeah, full shields and full HP. But yeah, you know, when you start to lose these probes, it's like everything just comes out so much later. We're looking at a 5 factory Terran versus a 2 gateway Protoss with Reavers.
Yeah, you're going to have the greatest Scarabs anyone's ever seen and the high ground advantage with Terran missing like every shot to have a chance here, I think. Third command center does get started from Light, which I think is appropriate as well. And, like, you know, after he makes a couple rounds, I think it's smart for him to just kind of start pushing out. He is putting down a lot of missile turrets and a lot of mines. I wonder if he's almost playing too safe here, but I think it's going to be fine. I think he's correctly looked at the situation and he realizes that with where he's at right now, he can build this additional defense to really shut down any comeback potential.
Okay, he's got Reavers now just outside this little pizza slice. This is where he's going to be able to buy time. The Dragoons can come here as well. When you see Goliath tank, you can absolutely try to hold off progress. You know, Vultures, it's a little bit different because the Vultures can just dart out and run by. But for now, it's going to be Terran trying to just move out, safely secure this position outside the base, continue to be in this dominant position. If there's a CC that's thrown down here, and by the way, there doesn't have to be. You can just make it look like you're going to take a command center and then move out. In this case, he is building a CC, so he'll be pushing a little bit later on. I think this is Light playing a very conservative game.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to really try to force anything. He knows he's ahead. He knows he's like probably in a position where he should be able to close this out and have a very easy late game.
Yeah.
So he's just going to continue to power up. And Stork's already taken the beating. All he can do now is try to catch up in workers, and you're in a game where you know that Light is not going to fall behind.
That's for sure. He's going to nail his macro and everything. In fact, we already saw him going up to 7 factory. You know, I think he's just going to hit a factory count. He's going to start mining the third base, probably move out at like 140, 150 supply, which it is a little bit conservative. I think a lot of players would have just attacked with the amount of probes he killed. But I think it's completely fine to play it in this way as well. Now, Stork is trying to get something done here with the Reavers, and he does give one up, and he really has to as well. Man, barely gets out with that one. I mean, he's trying at home. He's adding the gates. He has the Citadel. But even if he holds a push from Light, right? Like, let's say Light attacks, and they equal out their armies, and both of them lose their armies. It's still 3 base versus 3 base right now. It's like Terran's not really phased if they don't kill you with this push.
You know, Terrans have gotten so good with their early game that, like, Protosses really have to be watching out. I mean, the number of tricks and techniques, I mean, for all the good defenses and kind of wall-offs Protoss have, it is pretty remarkable to see what Terrans can do to trip up the Protosses. And, you know, I think Stork is falling into the same trappings of the earlier PvT he played, where he, like, kind of recovered and got on 4 bases, but never got bigger than that. And, like, the longer Terran's on the same number of bases as you, the worse it's going to get. So Stork's going to come in here and try to go for, I think, a pretty smart move, which is to basically bombard the upgrades here and probably the depots.
I like it. It's a really good idea. He kills 2 already, and oh, he just barely didn't get the tank. He's really trying to finish off this armory, which you can't really blame him. But yeah, okay, he does end up getting it. If he had gotten that tank, that could have been a lot more damage. But good defense there from Light. And Light starts a 4th command center. Dude, okay, I mean, I love Light. I love Light's style. I study Light a lot. Doesn't it seem weird that he hasn't attacked? Like, he hasn't actually tried to push it all? Like,
yeah, I feel like this is like he doesn't have to, but like I think he should have attacked a while back here.
Well,
I think as the 4th base was being taken for Protoss, it's a very pushable position.
I'm all about.
I also think.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I'm all about when you're ahead, get more ahead. Like, I definitely believe in that. But, like, also the longer you let the game go on, like, the smaller your lead becomes in a lot of ways, right? Like, you want to get yourself into a position where they can't recover. But I feel like right now he's pushing to this area where it's like, okay, now we're going to have Psystorm in 5 bases. And, like, if Stork just takes some good engagements, you know, he was way behind before. Is he way behind now? He's behind, but he's not way behind, right?
Well, I mean, if he was going to play like this, I think he should have tightened the noose by putting mines at every base that's not his right now.
Okay.
I think he would have also been able to set up and push out again and hit that 4th base. I do feel like he's given Stork a little bit too much oxygen.
Yeah.
But I think that push is going to happen here. No, overall, I kind of agree with you, Artosis. It's definitely a way to approach it. You know, all these Terrans do have their own kind of styles.
Yeah.
But gosh, I mean, I've had plenty of games where I get beat up early on, or good players in general get beat up early on, and the fact that they left you alone long enough, you do end up kind of recovering.
Yeah. It's definitely not a perfect position here for Stork. Light is ahead. But he's got so much to play with that there's like a lot of things that could go wrong for Light. You hit some good Psystorms, right? You have some sort of nice hold on an incoming push. And suddenly it's like, oh, this is almost looking like a normal game. Like if we just started the game right here. Well, I mean, you still, again, you can look at this and say that Light's ahead for sure. But yeah, it doesn't feel like what it should have with the amount of probes he killed, I think.
I feel like he could have been way more ahead. But this push is going to come. This push could very well end the game right now. The 2 Reavers are going to be picked off just like that.
Yeah.
The Zealot Storm drop, by the way, I'm sure there's some Vultures heading over there, but like Light didn't really have that covered that well. And I mean, here we are. What, it's +1 attack. I guess Armor is going to finish in a second here. Or maybe that was what was denied earlier on with the Reaver drop. But, I mean, Stork should just end up losing here.
I think so. I think so. Some decent storms and everything. I think he just barely doesn't really have enough of anything to hold on. That siege tank count is unbelievable from Light. Stork needs to slow it down a little bit. How do you even approach that? That is many take,
well, I think
yes?
you keep dropping Zealots on it.
Yeah, I guess you're right, yeah.
I mean, he's got the double robo play, so I think that's what you've got to do, but I just don't think that Stork can actually
I think you're right, but
make this work.
Unsieging, you're going to do well, too. He needs a combination of hitting Psystorms on this while dropping Zealots everywhere. Because as they...
I feel like my biggest takeaway is that Sharp is so much better than both of these guys. After casting his games, I'm like, God, this looks so much sloppier compared to him. All that Light has to do is get his tanks up to where the natural is, and nothing is going to get out from the low ground main.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a contain. He's chasing Stork's army around. Well, I mean, that wasn't too bad a snipe right there. Stork just trying to, like, he can't engage that. He absolutely can't engage that. I think you're right about the speed shuttles. There's like almost 0 Goliaths in here. If he can just continually bomb, if he could like whittle that army down, maybe there'd be some sort of comeback potential. But right now it's 4 base versus 4 base. You know, this is just game 1. It might be almost time here for Stork to just go into game 2 and try to reset his mental.
Yeah, man. There's a couple Templars back here. Some Storms can serve him very well, but I think the siege tank count's just so high. There is something going on with these drops. Or, I'm sorry, it's Zealots. I thought those were 2 shuttles moving through the map. Look, you know, not the perfect, you know, fatal Mortal Kombat fatality combo ending from Light. He did play a solid game and basically stayed ahead. Stork's doing this crazy counterattack. Okay, so I think the idea is good. Oh my God. Can he get in here and take out these tanks? I think it's, what, 6 Dragoons? The issue right now for Stork is he can't really get out of this bottleneck position.
Yeah.
So he can't defend his bases. So these tanks just siege up. This is basically how you end a Protoss. If you push in and block them in to their gateways, you send out tanks and 3s.
Yeah.
And just start to siege up everywhere.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, you do a containment push onto where all the gateways are, and then you split stuff off and kill all the bases and leave just enough that they can't get out. And yeah, Stork is basically dead now. You kind of see the tight lips on his face. You know, that's the look of someone who's getting ready to go into game number 2.
Yeah, you know, I think Stork put up a pretty good fight at the end here. You can kind of see that he's still a really good player. But he had a very bad early game.
Yes, he did. The
early games
disaster.
lead to they can lead to the worst late games.
Yeah.
StarCraft is a butterfly effect game where if things go well early on, they go better later on. If you know, it's why, like, you know, it's so bad if one of your first 4 workers bounces off of a patch and gets stuck.
Yeah.
Is you're like, all the resources that come in later everything is later now. Everything comes out later. And when you're in a game like that, the Vulture's killing that many probes early on, there's certain things that are basically unacceptable from a winning standpoint. And, you know, first couple minutes, Vulture's getting kills. That is one of them. We're going to deja vu here. Hopefully it's not deja vu of, oh, I remember Stork losing probes in game 1.
Yeah, yeah. I hope that he can fix that little problem that we had in game 1 and defend those probes, because I honestly think he can still do this, Tastosis. Like, Light is not very aggressive. Like, he did a slightly aggressive push, got some Vultures in, and then just kind of sat there and macroed it out. And, you know, if he doesn't get that damage, that game probably will, you know, that'll be a giant game with the whole map taken.
You know, Monty Hall is definitely a map he could do it on. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I think that I would just like to see these two play on that map. I want to get as many Monty Hall games as we can here, because I doubt it'll be back in the next season.
No, probably not.
Although I think it's probably one of the better island maps we could get. Stork, though, he needs to have just cleaner early game, and he needs to be able to, as we get into late game, get those bases. We need to see lots of Nexuses and gateways supporting them.
Yeah. I hope that he wins this one. I would like to see him Monty Hall as well. Let's go into Deja Vu.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, Stork in the top left, Light in the bottom right.
You know, this Deja Vu map, you know, a little bit like Fighting Spirit, kind of, can be a little bit tough for Terran to take additional bases, especially the way I would say that Light plays. Where, like, you saw that game, right? Where he macroed, like, basically perfectly on the quadrant of 4 bases that were all nearby. There isn't a quadrant of 4 bases here. If you're going to take a 4th here, you have to play, like, a more tempo-oriented game. Because, like, where would you take the 4th? It would just be so far away. Like, maybe you could try to make a quadrant with the middle patches, but that's, you know, that's a lot of surface area for Protoss to work with to find a way in. So, and not too likely. So, yeah, you know, I think it's easier for a player like Speed or Sharp to get a 4th base here than a player like Light. Where it's like, if you're taking that 4th, you better be pretty active to keep Protoss off of it, because there's no really great defensive setup.
Stork going to go for the gateway opening, so no Nexus first this time around. Light is going to put his barracks down here on the low ground, it looks like. So it's probably going to be barracks and a command center. This is a configuration where you can use the barracks and the command center as a wall early on.
Yeah, and not a bad choice, too. Sometimes when you have these maps that it is harder to play a bigger macro game on, you'll go for a gasless expansion. because it gives you more mid-game attack power, and it gives you faster third bases if that's what you want as well. So it kind of lends itself to a mid-game timing much better than a factory expansion does.
So for Stork, again, we just want to see, he's got to tick all the boxes, okay? He's got to stay safe. He only has 1 in gas. Okay, he's setting 2 more. I was like, you don't really ever just get 1 in gas. That's not really a thing. Stork also not going for a scout, which is not bad. This was more common a while back. It seems like no scout builds have gone out of style for a lot of Protosses.
Yeah.
But the idea with the no scout build is that you're going to be making probes so rapidly and developing so quickly, and you're going to have kind of an all-encompassing play style where all you really need to do is know where they're at. I personally find this pretty hard to play as, and I find it hard to teach people to play like this. But I think if you're a very top-tier world-class player, you can make it work.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people that play RTS, they need to see other stuff on the board for the dots to connect in their brain.
Yeah. I personally feel like that. I hate anything scoutless.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, you're assuming a lot of things here, and it can work, right? Like a lot of StarCraft is trying to follow your own plan as opposed to trying to react. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make, is that they react too much. It's not about reacting to everything your opponent does. It's about following your own plan and bending it slightly to accommodate what your opponent has done.
When I saw Flash making guides a long time ago, a lot of the builds he was teaching his viewers were no scout builds, and I'm like, man, I think you might be so good you don't know how the brain of a bad player works. Like,
oh, yeah.
It is.
Dude, actually,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Flash, I forget what it was that he said, but he had some sort of statement about A and B rank players, and it was so out of touch. It was like when they asked like Mitt Romney how much a gallon of milk was or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I don't know, $27?
He's like $50 or something. Yeah, it's like, you haven't never been... It's like...
Flash, you've literally never been that bad. You actually have no idea what it's like down there.
You don't know what you're looking at, or
you don't
know what the common man is going through.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. When I teach people, and I did a lot of this in college and before I went to Korea, but I felt like a lot of it was just like, okay, scout them. Even though they don't need that much information, just seeing where they are on the map is like enough to fill in all the things that they need for their brain. Like just scout after gateway or scout after pylon. And then what's more important is to just make workers the whole time. So in this build, Stork does just scout with the Dragoon. Now he doesn't know, is it a starport in the main and he's going to get dropped? Is it a second or even a third factory? Is there an armory? What about an academy? He does not know. But he's playing a kind of, and I don't mean this in a bad way, a sort of generic brand of Protoss where he's just going to expand and get his tech and kind of figure it out later.
Yeah.
And he's very good at this style of play.
And honestly, Light's playing a very generic Terran here as well. Like, he's just gone gasless expansion, 2 factories, making some siege tanks. Yeah, I just saw his engineering base start just exactly on time in his main base. A little bit of micro back and forth here. No one's in a lot of danger. 3 goons isn't that scary.
Yeah, and all he wanted to do was force a couple SCVs off. He hasn't sent an observer over here yet because he doesn't have one yet. He's going to take his third base in a second.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
He actually, it looks like he might go 1 gate Reaver 3rd Nexus. This is probably my most hated build to play against, because if you aren't trying to punish it, it's so good. It's just like they have very, very little. They're harassing you, and they're getting that new base up. Now, he hasn't made the Nexus yet, so we'll see if he's going to end up doing so. Light is doing a 3 siege tank push, so this is the perfect type of build to hit that. And Stork only has 5 goons up there. He's probably going to have to pull back. And Light looks like he's going to search for the 3rd Nexus. I love it.
Yeah. So this is a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's stuck on the outside, but he also can't go in here and protect this that easy. So the Reaver's going to come down and drive this away. I really like this.
And he adds another pylon there, so you can't just sneak through if you kill it. Really, really smart move.
So back at home, he's just going to be continuously producing. It's been a very quiet game, by the way.
Yeah.
I think both sides have prepped pretty well. There doesn't seem to be an opening. Well, hold on a second. I might have spoken too soon. The 4 vultures are going to come through. Is there a block? There is.
Ooh,
big moment. And there's also no probes at this third nexus. So he's just going to trap these in here and kill them. This is the game Stork needed to play today.
Yes, yes. Very excellent defense from him. That wall was super crucial. If those 4 vultures get in, the whole game turns on its head. And now he's going to clear this. I mean, he eats like a mine. It doesn't really matter. He'll end up killing these. Light's being as annoying as he possibly can. He's hoping that, you know, Stork screws something up here. Oh, wow. I can't believe the Scarab actually killed that mine before it hit the Zealot. That's actually kind of surprising.
I was going to say, I feel like I've never quite seen that.
Yeah.
Did he dodge it? No, he did not. This is Stork playing. This is not Snow.
Dude.
Don't try to be like Snow. Don't do that.
God. It's like trying to spin the basketball on your finger and it just hits you in the face. Okay, so Light right now adding additional factories, just because he's going up to 5 fact does not mean that he's going to necessarily attack. In fact, like, part of the reason why 5 fact even started is because you kind of need that if your opponent is being kind of aggressive with the Reaver so that you can actually take a third. And in fact, he throws a pylon down where Light wants to take his third base, which is highly annoying. But yeah, I think Light might expand here. I don't know what you're thinking about that, but like, I don't feel like there's an actual attack timing that's going to open up. Oh, is that a 6 factory?
I think it's 6 fac. I did not see a command center. I was trying to count it real quick when it was on camera here.
Yeah. Well, when you see the 6, it's always an attack.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's never like I'm going to make 6 factories and wait it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the pylon here to block, that's also very nice. You know, these blocker pylons, you'd think it would be easier to deal with, but it's actually kind of hard to get around, especially with how mobile Dragoons are when you compare them to you know, tanks having to set up and vultures trying to plant mines. He's going to go try to dive into the main. This is a great way to punish a 5 fac player who's trying to come out and assert himself on the map. Oh god, but he's going to bleed off some Dragoons here.
Yeah, that's pretty sloppy, losing 3 goons there. And it looks like he might lose the Observer. Yeah, the Observer goes down. Double shuttle flying towards the natural. There's definitely at least one, yeah, a couple missile turrets plus that bunker. Not sure if anything's in there. But yeah, Stork right now is macroing up. He's adding a lot of gates. I'm sure he's added his Citadel as well. If he can slow him a little bit.
Did you see what Light just did there?
No.
He like had his turret target the Reaver shuttle.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, it's always the
drop
second one.
here. Yeah, it's never the first one. Like, you can always predict which one has it because the first one is full of zealots that just bleed out the turrets. Okay, meanwhile, the push is going to come in. I got to say, Stork's looking very nice.
Yeah.
He picks off the tank and he just backs up. The whole idea with these 2-base pushes when they come at you is to just force a siege, do whatever damage you can, and then pull away.
He killed 1 Goliath as well, which is impactful. It makes the Goliath volleys take 1 more volley to kill a shuttle. That's why you always see 4 Goliaths. So that's nice to get that down to 3. And he's just macroing up and he's just sitting on high ground. There's no reason to attack into Light here. What you want is, optimally for Stork, he wants Zealot legs to finish. Right? We'll see if he's going to be able to get that or not. We don't really see any Zealots here yet. As they're showing this army, it's mostly just Dragoon Reaver. Another Reaver actually does pop out as well. Light switching angles. Ooh, that's a good angle. That's going to be hard to... You can't attack into that, man. Look at that.
Okay, so the double shuttle play is going to go into the main again. Keep in mind, the spotter pylon is making a 3rd CC just not a thing. He knows there's no 3rd CC. He knows the stakes and says, okay, so he's going to come in again, this time trying to take out the turrets and ideally get over there to where the SCVs are. If he can start to kill... Okay, oh, there's also a runaround Artosis. Look at this.
Now, is he going to be able to actually go onto the high ground and fight that army? I don't think so. But in the meantime, his Reavers are dealing some damage in this main base. It looks like Stork is giving up his 3rd. Okay, the Reaver's still trying to push in here, but Light just has enough units and Stork will be pushed out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he can really do a whole lot. Sometimes these pylon wall ends that work out nicely early on don't help you at all later because you're locked out of defending your position. It might have even been worth it to not send the Reaver and shuttle in there and instead drop Zealots on tanks and use the Reaver to try to pick off other tanks from a distance. He's going to drop these Reavers here. He picks up and he has a huge wipe in that position. But I just think there's too many tanks. I feel like Stork is just not really able to hang here.
Yeah. Light got a great spot on that push, man. And like, if you can smash this army on its way home, you might actually be even. But the fact that he traded very inefficiently there, now we have Light really far ahead. I don't think this is a game Stork's going to be able to win. He just doesn't have much to work with.
I think he was losing earlier. I think he died when that last shuttle and Reaver got killed off. And it might have even been over before that.
Yeah.
Light just playing a really good powering two-base play. Remember that one of the play styles that beats the powering two-base player is to go for 2 to 3 base Arbiter. Usually you can get a good stasis. You force a lot of scans out, especially if you just kind of trickle DTs in here and there.
Yeah.
But, Reavers have been much more popular lately, and it does feel like with Stork modernizing his play, maybe he was playing a little bit more modern for like last year and this year, and not up to date with a lot more of the the Arbiter stuff like we see Bisu going for.
Yeah.
And some of these other guys, even Snow kind of going into Arbiter sometimes when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. He didn't really do too much to slow the push coming in as well, just to know. With some DTs coming up here and eating mines, unfortunately. But, like, maybe, when he backstabbed with the 2 shuttles into the natural, maybe if he had utilized those plus his goons to slow the push as it came up, maybe the game could have played out a little bit differently. But, yeah, looking at this now, Stork is very, very close to dead. He has a big army in the center. Maybe try to cut off some reinforcements and then at the last second save his natural.
It's always a good idea to try to come in from behind and cut off support, but I feel like this point in time the damage has gotten too scary. You kind of want to force a siege somewhere close to the middle and then run around or force a counterattack before they get there. And so he's cutting off reinforcements, so that's one thing, but Protoss is just losing all their bases, so it kind of doesn't matter. You can be cut off as if the Protoss is on. Oh my god, that's a wrap. Curtains closing on that one.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Like, Stork really has been playing super, super well lately, but tonight wasn't the night for him. It's unfortunate. That means that we will not have a third Protoss in that round of 8. We're going to be stuck at just 2 Protoss, but at least we get 4 Terran Stasis.
There's always that, Artosis. Looks, Stork didn't have it. He did not look like round of 8 material. He barely looked like round of 16 material for this day today. Light just played a very straight up, solid approach and never really let Stork find any comfortable moments. This was the big push. I'm glad they're highlighting this. So, see the shuttle and the Reavers that are going towards the main. I wonder if he should have sent this back here and just used the Reaver to pick off the tanks coming in.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when the tanks set up over here, you can't get Dragoons back here, which means you're just letting them push in. And so, maybe the shuttle Reaver drop would have been better if the push had just started. But right now, it's like he's kind of zoned himself away from his third base. And we were casting this from the perspective that Terran can never take a third, but if Protoss loses a third base, it's a very easy game for Terran to play the longer it goes on.
Yeah. That became very, very tough. 2 base versus 2 base is so Terran favored. And, you can see here, like, Stork was trying to get something done with the counterplay. Hey, look at that. Light's on 45 SCVs, so Light was, like, pretty all in with this. 45 SCVs doesn't transition into a third base. So, like, he really needed that damage, and Stork, I think, just made some wrong decisions here.
No carriers. That's what I'm chalking it up to. Guys, coming up next, Royal vs. Light. We will be right back.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구속은 사양할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
Don't wake up from sleep. The sun will go about its business. I hope it has some light for me. Oh, please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, Lord, take me up into heaven where I can abide in peace. But I can't abide in peace. I can't abide in peace. I can't abide in peace. I'm grateful that I saw the dawn even just briefly. I thank God that the earth's still beneath me. I'm praying that my mama never have to grieve me. A lot of figures will give anything to be me. Probably walk a mile in my shoes real easy. Whenever my motherland knows war, my mouth goes dry and my gut so sore. I tweet the news but the Twitter feed shows more. I scream while the pain away behind a closed door. I'm scared that my soul is picking up bad omens. I get exposed to so many last moments. Homies ask how you doing and how you coping. I don't even know, just pop that thing open. Then I just think about how we on stolen land. And who got robbed for my phone hand. Who worked to death for my clothing brands. And how the can you own up, man? I hear him calling, just pain in the atmosphere. The rain just keeps falling. Where can we go from here? Please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, the sun will go about its business. I hope it has some light for me. Oh, please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, Lord, take me up into heaven where I can abide in peace. But I can't abide in peace. I can't abide in peace. I can't abide in peace. Listen, I never really been afraid to get real. Never lays that I wouldn't let peel. Never had to trip about the next deal. Never had to think of how to get still. And still, cause my kids are worried about the next meal. Yo, don't get it twisted. This ain't a flex. It's a nod to my privilege. Staying in check. Some weaponize and muzzle the claim of debt. Some fetishize the struggle and pain and step. But I hear him calling. It's pain in the atmosphere. The rain just keeps falling. Where can we go from here? Please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, the sun will go about its business. I hope it has some light for me. Oh, please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, Lord, take me up into heaven where I can abide in peace. Lord, please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, the sun will go about its business. I hope it has some light for me. Lord, please pour out for me. If I don't wake up from sleep, Lord, take me up into heaven where I can abide in peace. But I can't abide in peace. I can't abide in peace. Oh, I can't abide in peace. Up in my door shut, D&D so don't call up. A few missed meals, so what? Crunch time about to crawl up. I'm a force under big pressure. Under pressure they sprawl guts. If you coasting with a mediocre, then any over you call luck. I've been about the grind though. Got plenty of receipts too. My lower back tell me all the time what 12 hours on repeat, dude. But can't stop when I don't got breaks. I've been putting in years, dude. Ain't it funny how you get lucky when you work harder than your peers, dude. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess what? I guess I'm lucky all day. I guess I'm lucky all day. Now you wanna tell me that I'm lucky all day. Some call me a king, others say I drew oasis. They think I picked up the crown from the pavement. Well, They wanna see my decline. There's a whole line of them, that's fine. I stay posted up in their minds and don't pay a dime of rent. I don't mix much with they kind. I ain't trying to blend the difference between I and them and Steinbeck of mice and men. Ooh, it's time again. Straps on, we live again. Upset and they in position, but I ain't even got eyes on them. It's a me versus me exhibition. Me winning, that's repetition. When I retire, that's deposition. Untouchable, I'm the definition. I don't blame them, not a rise. See them as a ball. Came up as an underdog, and now I'm at the pinnacle. Some call it crazy, others call it a miracle. The only thing I know is that I grind and I give it up.
All right, we're back, everybody. This is the last match, the last best of 3 here for the round of 16. And then we get to the best part of the SSL, the round of 8 and up. I love when we get to the best of 5 moments, man.
Yeah.
Group stages are fun. I like the different matchups and seeing how the players size up against each other. But I love a good best of 5, a good best of 7.
Oh, yeah. With all the prep involved in it, it really is a different beast. But yeah, a lot of variety here. Seeing, 4 players duke it out, not knowing exactly who they're necessarily going to face. And now we're down to 2 Terran players, either Royal or Light, both of which are former ASL champions. One of them goes to the round of 8, the other goes home.
Kind of crazy to see these 2 knock each other out. Both have performed so well in the last couple seasons.
Yeah, last season I feel like they didn't do as well as the previous ones.
That's true, actually.
Yeah,
sorry. But generally speaking, we've had a lot of really strong runs of these guys lately.
Yeah. Well, they both do have pretty recent championships before Sulky took over. Now, set 1 Kickback, then Dominator, then Minstrel. Definitely a very cool map set for these 2 to be playing on. Really interested to see what openers they're going to use on Kickback.
Yeah, Kickback definitely can allow for a lot of, super fast ramping up of base taking since you get 2 bases for free right away. But don't forget, you do run out of resources at those bases very quickly. So you got to take more bases and then spend that money to take even more bases quickly. Guys, this best of 3 is starting. Again, one goes on to the round of 8, the other's out of the SSL.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay, Light in the bottom right, Royal in the bottom left. Final plug, guys. Consider signing up for the Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. This is the way, it is now. It's about community support, and so we really appreciate it. Blizzard hasn't stayed with us. It's sad. And we were, for some time, doing this out of the studio here, with Afrika TV. But now it's down to you guys, and I'm so grateful for the support we've already received. We really appreciate it. It warms our hearts, and we are so happy to continue to serve you guys into the future, keeping the history of StarCraft 1 alive.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. And one thing also to note, as we're getting deeper into the tournament, at the end here, we should have the bracket draw as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we don't know who's versus who yet. You might have seen the players that were already in the round of 8, but that was not who's playing against who. So that is randomized, so a lot of possible interesting matchups could come from that.
All right, so Kickback. You've got those easy 3 bases. It seems like a command center first would be a pretty damn good build here. Of course, that could make things like center barracks really, really strong.
I feel like we never get center barracks or double racks ever. But it is a build.
Yeah.
It is actually a tournament build, too. I know that in this tournament, we never see it, but it exists. It's out there.
Yeah. It's kind of garbage, though. Like, BBS in Terran vs. Terran, I think I mentioned this before, that I went through, at one point, I was having such a hard time against Command Center first. I went through the most recent 150 games above 2300 MMR in TVT and took the stats on all of them. The win rate of high-level players going BBS against anyone who doesn't go Command Center first, the win rate is like 1%. Never win.
It's got to be just non-existent.
Garbage.
It can, the thing is, CC first isn't anywhere near as popular as like Nexus first. Like you can You can bank on a Protoss probably going Nexus first. I think, and I don't have any way to prove this. I haven't, done the research now that this topic's come up, but I would imagine Gateway Gas is still a little bit more popular, but Nexus first is still out there.
It's every day, multiple times I play against it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so going for double racks rushes is still pretty strong. Plus, you can actually cheese out a Protoss who goes for Dragoon right away, like Gateway right away. You can get a situation where you can rush both the Gateway Pylon and the Cybernetics Core and deny Dragoon range and just win outright. So it's a much more strong rush. We only bring up the barracks supply build just because, gosh, on this map it seems super tempting to just run right into an extra base.
Totally. You see both them kind of walling in with barracks and supply. A couple Marines walking all the way across the map here for Light. Kind of surprisingly. He just checks if there's an add-on, sees that there's not, so he knows a Vulture's coming to kill his Marines, so he just gets out of there immediately. And there's a hidden building up there for Royal. Is that a starport?
Yes, it is.
There you go. So, okay. Starport coming up, as well as that command center on both sides. So the starport could throw Light off a little bit. I actually like this play from Royal. I don't know if he had this pre-planned or this was a reaction to how blatantly Light did not get a Goliath when Royal really sold starport in their previous game and Light didn't make a Goliath. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe you should just go Wraith then. And in fact, it looks like he's going very fast Cloak. This kind of makes sense if you think about it, because Light is going for starport as well after his command center. Since this map, you don't really have to worry about your opponent getting map control that much because you already have 3 bases right there. Wraith seems good. You have a wall in. They can't really do a siege chain push because Wraiths will beat that. They can't really go Vultures because you have a wall in here and you have multiple bases. You're not going to take any damage. So it does seem like a Wraith map, which means getting starport before the command center and getting Cloak immediately, that would be the best way to go Wraith, right? Simply a better way to go Wraith.
And obviously getting an expansion is almost always the most important thing to do, but having the Cloak slightly earlier means that you're going to have that edge in the Wraith versus Wraith fight. I don't think he saw anything, by the way, unless he saw the very edge of the Wraith on the corner of the vision cone there.
Yeah, I don't think that he saw it, but he is making an armory at home. What he scouted did kind of point towards Wraith anyways, and he is going for his own Wraith. Now, he'll fly in here and see the starport. He'll see no add-on, incredibly important. When Cloak is done for Royal, he's going to get way ahead. Because what you do here, if you see no starport there, they're not going to have a turret in time. They're not going to have comsats in time. Look, he cancels the armory. Wait, he canceled the armory and started another armory? What?
It must be a mistake.
Yeah.
Wait,
100%. I was going to say, maybe he canceled the armory and started an academy, but anyways, with how quick Cloak is, though, he's going to be able to fly in. Watch this. He'll just Cloak, fly in, and kill all the Wraiths, and he's so far ahead, it's insane. Oh, here we go.
Look at that.
Sorry, Light. You're dead.
What?
What?
He doesn't kill either one. No.
Dude. No. That's crazy.
That's insane. How does he miscontrol that? And he
Yeah.
threw a Vulture away. We barely remarked on that. Okay.
I tell you, this is a little bit sad for Royal because he should have been able to get at least one Wraith kill here.
I don't know if Royal is all mom spaghetti here, but he's had a lot of misplays with the Wraiths.
Yeah, and well, I guess he has a 3rd Wraith now, so he's still going to be kind of okay. He has taken some damage there, and Light has to try to recover the Wraiths that took some damage and repair those. Lots of SCVs going down. Yeah, Royal definitely coming in with a very good build for the map. I hadn't really
he's still
thought
in a
of
good
that,
spot.
But yeah, that was great.
I mean, getting the 2 kills on the Wraiths would have been massive, though, because he would have just maintained this Wraith lead that you can't catch up to. Now, those 2 Wraiths are being repaired at the natural. Royal seems to be staying ahead by having another Wraith come down. Don't forget that this is a rematch between two players, one where Royal just build order beat out Light right away, and it seems like we're kind of having the same thing, although this game Light is in a much more playable position.
Yeah. Light now has a Valkyrie out. He's not even going to try to go straight Wraith here. So, like, I like that he has a Goliath as well. Like, Goliath, Valkyrie, 2 Wraiths will beat 5 Wraiths. And it'll just get worse for Royal if more Valkyries get joined in. So right now, Light coming forward, it looks like he might want to do, like, a little bit of a containment play here since so much gas has been spent on Wraiths. Ooh!
Uh-oh. Is Royal a little bit too far away? Is he going to get this one weakened tank back here? Meanwhile, Royal taking a lot of damage. Oh my god, all the Wraiths are killed!
Okay, well, the tanks go a little bit too far there, so he does have to back up, but then he kills off even the incoming Valkyrie here from Royal, which means the Wraiths of Light will dominate from here. He can actually fly up and start hitting these siege tanks as well.
Okay, he's already starting to wipe these tanks out. The Wraith's going to, of course, come in here and clean up this position. I think we could end up with a very short game here, Tastosis. I mean, the push is going to come out. You know, there's not a lot of counterplay. He's going to run back with that one Goliath. Light having, I mean, this is just, you're losing on every possible front. Now he's going to come in with a Valkyrie, but am I wrong in just assuming that the Valkyries right now of Royal just win?
If he had held position
Sorry, of Light
there,
is what I meant.
If he had held position, he might have, I've never actually seen 4 SCVs repairing against 2 Valkyries, 1 Valkyrie against 2. But he actually might have been able to just barely hold that. But yeah, as is, this game is Light's. This is not looking recoverable at all. He's got so many siege tanks up here. He's got that huge, huge air domination. Royal took a very fast third, so if I were him, I would still stay in the game and see if there was some way to come back. But definitely not looking very good.
Man, forcing this Valkyrie to turn around is kind of crazy. He's going to have taken out another one. Now the depots are going to fall. This will not supply block Royal, but I mean, it's getting really painful here. Now he's got a tank on the low ground that's shelling some SCVs on the periphery of the mineral patch. A scan here, you know, indicating that while Royal is about to lose his third base, Light is about to acquire his own.
Yeah, it is definitely getting worse. I like the idea of cloaking 1 Wraith and flying it in and trying to get some snipes here, but Light is way on top of that. Dude, he's killed so many air units. I can't believe these Valkyries are still alive. These things have taken a beating as well.
He's going to kill the command center.
Yeah, it looks that way.
GG. Wow, Royal super pissed about that loss. And it was crazy. You can even see Light kind of muttering to himself, like, Light got blindsided by the build, sort of out-controlled him, wiggled free, blindsided the Wraiths and Valkyries, won that fight. But, you know, look, a couple takeaways here. Royal is actually playing better build order-wise. He's not got good execution today.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't feel like he's a guy that should be nervous at this point in time. His Wraith control's been off as well in more than one game. So
yeah, he's not looking completely sharp in every way here. Like, obviously that first build that he did against Light, the very first match of the day, really caught Light off guard and killed him. But he should have been able to kill one of the Wraiths of Light immediately at the beginning of the game. And then, you know, he should have, from there, like, you really start feeling ahead, right? If you're both going for the same units, it's like Muta versus Muta. If you're up a Muta, you're way ahead. If Wraith versus Wraith, you're up a Wraith, you're way ahead. But he kind of screwed that up a bit.
Well, let's see what happens as we go to the map Dominator. Right now, Royal and Light looking like Light could take it, but, you know, Royal, again, his build orders have been very well prepped. He just has to have that execution.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
All right.
Okay. Royal here in the top left, Light in the center right.
Yeah, so, I mean, I still think Royal can recover from here. Definitely. Oh, this is a center racks right here.
Yeah, look at this. Very early center racks. I guess center racks is always very early, but you know what I'm saying. That SCV being sent out here right away. And this is racks before depot, by the way.
Yeah,
So-
this is a very aggressive play. Like if there is something like a command center first here, you will just instantly
Yeah.
die. This can be a good build just to, like, you can bunker the top of the ramp and stuff like that as well.
Oh, yeah.
That is a very fast
okay.
barracks, by the way. Like, that was actually a 6 racks. Holy crap. So
That's
this is going to
crazy.
be a little bit of a, like a Marine all-in. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of him choosing to do this. Like I was saying before,
see this build a lot. I don't really
Yeah.
know how it works. Can you break it down for me?
So yeah, you're going to make Marines here. The 6 racks is like very dedicated. You're going to, oh dude, okay, well this is how you win it easily, right? Do you remember that game that we had on Kickback that looked kind of like this, like Rush JYJ, where JYJ like had the 8 racks and then like the forward racks got screwed because the Marines were out of position? That's very likely. Look, he's going to catch us. He's going to force a cancel on the racks likely. This is.
I think I see 2 SC.
We're
I
going to
think there's
game
2
3,
SCVs
man.
coming out.
This is a
This is-
disaster. Couldn't it be worse?
Oh.
Okay, as the
gonna
Marine
come up
comes up and
here.
attacks, he might just GG. Like, you have to bring so many SCVs right now, and seeing the Marine that early, you know this is like a 6 or 7 barracks.
This may have all been planned out to basically hit a barracks like this. He may have known what Light's early game plans kind of look like.
It's possible.
The issue is Marines are just a little bit more controllable than SCVs.
Yeah.
You can kind of move them from side to side here. The SCVs skate around where the Marines' movement is very concise. Like it'll begin moving right away. It'll stop abruptly. Where all workers in StarCraft 1 kind of slide around. It's almost like they're on the ice level of a Mario game.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is have a little bit more than the Marine that spawns, which always spawns at the bottom left of the barracks, you know? So you just surround it.
Yep, the 2 SCV linebackers getting ready to snipe it. Light gonna try to come down as his Marines popping. But yeah, the double... Dude, the control here, by the way, is amazing. I just want to put this out there. Light's control was really good. If I was doing that rush as Royal, Light would have probably killed my Marines and won the game. Like, that's how good his control was. It was, like, really top tier.
Well, the story, the narrative kind of continues on. It's Royal with the prep, Light with that execution. He did control well. He did look very strong, but Royal basically had him figured out. And again, in that first game we had in the series, Royal also had him figured out. Now, that was about as much of a rug pull as you can get out of a game. You know, you just basically countered the very placement of the barracks, which ultimately results in the win of the game. Some StarCraft games can be won just on that. Others, it's hundreds of interactions over, you know, tens of minutes.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens in the final map here. And this is a map where, you know your opponent's spawn. I guess there could be something cheesy, but I don't know. It's also a pretty, kind of a brutal TVT map with the 5 different lanes you can move up and down, or left and right in, I should say.
It is just crazy TVT. Just absolutely insane. So I hope we get into one of those big, crazy macro games because they're so fun here. But here we go. Minstrel going to decide which of these former champions makes it to the round of 8.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Join the fun side by side.
Okay. In the bottom right, we've got Light. In the top left, we've got Royal. Very much looking forward to this TVT and what these guys are going to do. Okay.
Dude, again? Well, this one's going to be a little bit later. This might be an 8 racks, is my guess.
Well, it depends on where he puts it, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you can do 8 racks factory, and your factory's only a little bit later.
Believe this.
Yeah, and normally what happens with this is you do the beginning of a push, and then you pull down the ramp where it's hard for Terran to follow you and engage correctly, and then you make a bunker down the ramp. That's like a pretty common rush. So this is actually going to be a 7 racks. Okay, so that is a little bit quicker. 7 racks generally is a more dedicated Marine attack. Oh, dude, if he finds the barracks, this is so funny. I think he's going to check.
Is he going to check here though?
Yeah, I think he is. Okay, well, you have to cancel it. You have to cancel it. Unless you're the luckiest human ever in the history of
unless
Earth. Which could happen.
The RNG gamer gods. It could happen. Can the gamer gods push? Can an angel come down with its wings and push the SCV away? Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's... Look at Royal. Well, here's the thing, Royal. You tried to get to the round of 8. Yeah, he tried to get into the round of 8 by making barracks near light space. Like that, I mean, you get what you deserve. Okay, he sends another SCV, and this one probably will finish it. Well, unless he's got... Okay, I was going to say, if he has Artosis SCV luck, then he's fucking
Is there a
not gonna
way to
make
make the SCV attack faster?
Okay, I've heard it's no. But you can spam and kind of cancel the animation. And it feels like it attacks faster, but people have told me that they measured it, and that's not the case, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't know. I heard that you could, and then I heard you couldn't, then I heard you could again. So.
Yeah. All right, so, like, he got the barracks done, so I guess the game continues. Obviously, it is a terrible position. Light's going to make a factory way in advance. Well, maybe not. Royal can, like, skip an SCV and make his pretty quick. But, like, he is pretty darn far behind. He has lost a lot of his economy. Look at these. He's 4 supply down right now.
Is there any reason why he wouldn't want to make it, like, just going back to this barracks that was thrown down, could he have made it outside the front, or do you check there? Or north of the
I think he just
bridge?
wanted it really close.
Yeah.
You know, it's a risk. If he doesn't scout there, it's a good place. If he does, it's a terrible place. Right? It's pretty straightforward like that, I guess. Ooh, nice snipe. Yeah, Light gonna get out of there. It is a central factory here for Royal. Man, I just... Like, Royal needs so many things to go wrong for Light and so many things to go right for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the games where we've seen Royal plan, I think, smartly, but Light basically, by, you know, the time it was the 3rd game in the best of 3, he just starts to check for certain things. He goes, God, you seem really desperate. Why don't I just go ahead and confirm that? It's going to be double center factory Artosis.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And the SCV is going to scout.
Oh, the SCV getting in is really, really painful, because as soon as you see nothing...
There's going to be an armory. It's like, well, I wonder what else you have.
Well, dude.
Oh, my God. Why is this game so weird?
Yeah, now you just need to make a bunker as Light. It comes down so heavily to this. So, yeah, now he can tell it's going to be a 2-factory Vulture into Goliath build. It doesn't look like he's going to actually make the armory, I mean, the bunker. Like, if you have a bunker against this, the 2-factory player can't do anything. Like, they're super, super dead. Maybe Royal can make something happen. I think Light is just making a tank. And if he just produces tanks nonstop here, it's very, very good. But the double add-on, that's like a good way to do it. Because your opponent is just trying to make some units so they don't die to this, because they already have their command center started. But if you switch into siege mode and you kind of have your barracks nearby to spot, and maybe their barracks went too far, it looks like, notice how Light turned his barracks around to fly here? This is because all he needs is spotting. As long as he sees where the tanks are, because tanks can shoot further than they see, so you need something to actually spot. And that's why the barracks has kind of come home a little bit.
you know, the fact that the machine shops are here too only puts more pressure on Royal to end this game. There's always a world where this game goes on and it's really long, but it's really much more likely it's going to be driven to a conclusion of either Light or Royal winning pretty quickly here.
Yeah, Light just having that expansion, all he has to do is defend. You don't have to get very fancy here. You keep your barracks scouting, you make sure you target siege tanks, and you repair. That's about it. Like, that's what you got to do. All right, picks off one of these vultures. Oh, is he going to lose that Marine? Oh, it's too bad he couldn't get the Marine. That would have been huge. All right,
yeah, that
so
would have been very sick.
That was very good for Royal. The fact that he picked a tank and didn't lose a tank of his own, that's a huge, huge deal. All right, so now
he's going to
siege.
siege up back here. Yeah, he's going to have a small position out. Look, it's a little bit scary because like there is a push inbound here, and honestly, there's not enough Marines inside this. Oh God, he gets both tanks, man.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Wait a minute.
Beautiful targeting. Beautiful targeting. And now he's bringing his SCVs, but way late comparatively. Oh my God. This is turning into a lot of damage.
Okay, the bunker is going to burn down here if it doesn't get repaired. He actually puts the, that's so cute, with the barracks on top of it like that.
Yeah.
I love that. So that goes down. Now SCVs are going to be pulled, but the tanks are not sieged up.
And the vultures actually ate that tank hit, which was really, really well done. He needs to kill this tank so badly. Okay, he does get the kill on that. He's losing a lot of SCVs. He's trying to get the kill on this tank. The repair going to repair right through it, killing SCVs as they run away. I think Light still holds. Royal is really putting on a lot of pressure here, though.
That floating barracks was killed off for Royal, so he has to use other stuff to spot. He's going to try to just move in here. It's going to be 2 tanks versus 2.
A mine tasteless. And actually, he's really lucky that the vulture got stuck on the mine. Oh, he gets it. Oh my God, this is so crazy. Ah! And he loses that siege tank. Huge moments here.
This is just insane. The only direction this game can go is that Royal keeps making tanks, but you know the equation's pretty simple. 1 base versus 2. If the 2 base player just stays alive and keeps mining resources from the 2nd base, long term they always win. And the longer the game goes on, the less likely it is that the 1 base pressure player is going to win. And we may be far past that point.
Yeah. I don't know if he's made a Goliath at this point. I know that he made an armory earlier. I don't believe he has any real anti-air, like 1 Marine at home. But a Wraith is flying across. This is going to give some scouting intel. He's going to be able to see that the command center is just now starting, which will give Light a very good feel, you know, as to like his actual position here and how to fight back.
So Light,
Well, that's it.
That's going to be it. I was going to say, what does Light need to do to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Kind of an unusual series with these two. I just didn't, I mean, you know, I didn't really expect Royal to play the way that he did. He played with such an air of desperation.
Yeah.
Look, if it worked, he would have looked like a genius, but it didn't. And, you know, when you see Royal's head on his desk like that and him just looking so distraught, I kind of feel for the guy. I mean, this is one of the greatest players in the last couple of years, and he seemed to have both planned for most of his opponents perfectly early on, executed poorly, and he put in so much planning. The fact that he recycled the same strategy, or the same idea at least, again in that game, and it backfired. Kind of hard to watch.
It was. It was. He actually started to show some brilliance with that push. You know, like he was doing a good job, killing a lot of SCVs and everything. Things almost went south for Light. It was almost, I was actually kind of rooting for him to win because I lost a game that looked exactly like this the other day. But yeah, this part right here was insane because he used the double vultures to get the additional hits. that you're missing from the 2 tank hits. Just really, really well done.
It's one of those moments that's a reminder that a bunker is nothing without the number of Marines in it being a threat.
Yeah.
You know, one Marine bunker, you kind of just ignore it, just like you would one Marine. The only difference is normally the one Marine is already dead, but yeah, I mean, beautiful display of the double tank shot comboed with a double vulture shot to just clear that.
Yeah.
I also love the barracks floating over the depot there.
Oh yeah,
like making it hard to repair.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, if you center it perfectly over the bunker doesn't fire at it. It's a bug.
Oh, it doesn't fire at all, or it doesn't fire at the...
It doesn't fire at the barracks if it's exactly over it. Like, exactly
Oh,
centered.
that's a weird bug I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know about that one, and when you do to them, they like just type mass question marks. It's like, yeah, LOL. Eat that. Unload your Marines if you want to fire. But yeah, here is where it just kind of started to come together here for Light a little bit more. You know, well done. And he definitely deserves to move on over Royal. I gotta say though, Sharp definitely the strongest tonight.
And that does it for Group D of the round of 16 here at KB Live Mobile 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn, as the last quarterfinalist of the season has been decided. It's Terran Player Light. Congratulations. Thank you. Once again making it into the round of 8 after a good 2 years had passed. The games today were tough, but you managed to make yourself a good result. How do you feel? It's personally quite surprising that it's been 2 years since I made the round of 8. Have I been doing this poorly, or is advancing really this difficult? Whatever unfolded today is perhaps a good indication for why so many people find the round of 16 to be as challenging as it is. You must have been dizzy all throughout that game against Royal, starting with that first set. What was all that about? It seems that Royal took even the movement of the barracks into consideration when preparing that specific build. Have you had a chance to look at the replay? Honestly, I like the kind of mind games that went on in that first game. But I did not think he would try that on me. I did not expect Siege into rushed Comsat. I realized there's no way out and just let that game go. In the first set of the decider match, Royal went for Cloak Wraiths. Did that also catch you off guard? I knew that was a possibility, because he wasn't producing out of the factory. I saw that and thought, oh, is he playing Wraiths? So I started building an armory, but then realized that on this map you can take an easy third, so I cancelled the armory, and right at that moment, the Wraith came with Cloak. I thought, wow, this dirty little... But he still expected it to some degree, so not taking too much damage, you sent your mech army forward to claim victory on that map, and in the second set that followed, once again Royal put you in a really tough spot, going for an all-in with his 6 racks opening. I'm curious as to what you were thinking then. Oh, your expression speaks for itself. Yeah, I was calling him names in my head. But still, it's you who gave Royal so much trouble online, so many painful memories. Yet we kind of made light of it during the pre-game interview, so I thought, hey, we would end up playing macro. When the game finished at first, I was just so upset, but you know, when playing PvT, I have beaten Royal the same way in a tournament before. I think he might have thought that if the game went to macro, he would not have an answer. Royal clearly came prepared with some intricate strategies for this series. In the last game on Minstrel, you were ready though. You kept looking, you found the barracks, you even confirmed that his main was empty and all but secured the game. But there was this one moment where you lost your tanks in the natural. I thought it would end up being an easy series, an easy match, but then losing that second set the way I did, I suddenly got a shiver running down my spine. So I might lose, I thought. My form has dropped off recently. I really felt I was losing in the end. I did not think it would turn out like this right until the last game. But when I saw he wasn't going for a CC first, I realized I'm going to win. Royal must have come prepared, bearing how strong you are in late game macro in mind. Your matches today were truly entertaining, and in the end, it was you who advances to the round of 8. For this extended series, you're once again getting to play after a while. You can run into Solki, Barracks, or Rain. Which one of these players would you like to have as your round of 8 opponent? I looked at who made it through in second place before I came here, and it looked like advancing in second place might be better than advancing in first. And it happened even if by chance. I'm very pleased with this being the case. As long as it's not sulky, I'm fine with either of the other two. Light is hoping for either Barracks or Rain. We will see if that comes to fruition in just a moment. Do you have any words of thanks for, or words of resolution for your colleagues, your practice partners, the fans that supported you here? Thank you to the fans and my Ukikiji colleagues for coming down to the studio. It was actually difficult to find practice partners, but thankfully, Stork helped me out. I practiced with nobody but him for 2 days straight, and it's likely thanks to him I managed to advance. Thank you. Once again, congratulations on making the round of 8 again after a while. Thanks for the interview. One more thing. Yes? And thanks to my wife for letting me practice for 2 days straight as well. A very cute heart from Light as well. Looking forward to seeing you in the round of 8. Once more, congratulations, Light. Thank you. And that does it for our interview with Light, our final player to join the round of 8 lineup this season.
All right. This was a hell of a day, man. Kind of a crazy ending. Too bad with Stork, didn't really perform the way that we had hoped he did, but we had some great Terran games. My biggest takeaway is that Sharp is just looking so strong, so scary, an even better iteration of himself than what he brought in the previous series.
Yeah.
And Royal, kind of a tragic ending here to close out the day.
And there is your top 8 right there. 2 Zergs, 2 Protoss, and 4 Terran, perfectly balanced as it should be. And yeah, I'm really excited about the set of players that made it through. Sulky, Hero, Rain, Snow, these are the best of the best. And then you look at the Terran group, it's a little bit more questionable. Like Rush, I think, is like literally always in the round of 8, so like, okay, great. Barracks is kind of a surprise. Honestly, I don't feel like Light is playing as well as it feels like he should be playing. But he's in the round of 8, which shouldn't be a surprise because it's Light, for God's sake, right? He's supposed to be the best Terran. But Sharp has been playing amazing the last couple seasons, and it's good to see him in such top form.
Couple things to note. Snow is a PvT god. A lot of Terrans for him to hack and saw his way through. Sulky, I think this is another very doable season for him. Rain, I think, is going to have a hard time. Going into this, just one possible PvP, and that wouldn't be happening right away, but a lot of good PvT players. Rush having the opportunity to once again get into an ASL finals. Light, it would be nice to see him kind of overcome all these other players who are here, who are looking so good. And Hero here as well. Again, always a guy that's going to get at least to the Final Four, right?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm looking at this lineup, and it feels like Sulky and Hero are the favorites. Like, I just don't think these Terrans are good enough at the matchup to stop those two. They are just so unbelievably strong, right? So I'm looking at it. I think it's going to be a third Sulky victory right in a row, Tastosis. I don't know about you.
If it is, that's crazy. Queen got very close to doing this. Sulky, you know, when he won, we were kind of in awe that it finally happened. But the fact that it could happen a third time, what happened just previously with the last season of what was then known as the ASL. Now we're in the SSL. He won it twice, which is huge, which is unheard of. We had years and years and years of ASL before we had a Zerg ever get close. We were saying Sulky would do it for a while. This is definitely a season he could do it. He's looking really, really strong.
Yeah. He looks like he's just a completely different level. And the thing is, he gets to automatically avoid Rush because they were in the same group the last time. And I think that Rush, other than Hero, has the highest chance to take him out. The only other player I could see giving him a hard time maybe would be one of our Protoss players if they're really on point. Like Snow and Sulky had a great match last season. So you never know. Something like that could occur. And that would be probably the most unjust thing you could have is a Sulky versus Snow first
2024
round
SOOP
in the round of
스타리그
8.
어떤 치열했던
We're gonna do the
16강이
group
모두
draw. Here we
마무리되고
go.
이제 8명의 선수들만이
let's
남아
see what
도전을
happens here.
이어나가게 됐습니다.
I'm very
자,
curious what these
지금부터는
matchups are going to
8명의
be looking
선수들이
like. Who's going to
운명이
end up on what
결정된
side of the bracket?
8강 조 추첨식을 진행하도록
You see this dress,
하겠습니다.
Tasteless? This reminds me of like
자, 제
those potpourri
앞에는
bags
노란색
that
공과
you
보라색
see
공이
if you
있는데요.
go to like a
노란색 공에는
fancy store.
16강에서 조 1위로
Like
진출한
looks
선수의
nice and
이름이
like
들어가
lets the
있습니다.
potpourri
먼저
smell
1위
come
진출자
out.
선수들을
Is this like a
추첨을
little netting
통해서
or something?
ABC
I know
D조에
exactly
위치시키도록
what you're
하겠습니다.
talking about. Those
먼저
were in my
A조에서
mom's
8강
house.
경기를 펼치게 될 선수는요.
Exactly. All right, here we go. Mixing up the balls. Let's see what this first name is here. Oh, who is that? Who is it? And it's going to be Barracks.
황병영 선수가 8강에서 가장 먼저
Okay, so
경기를 치르게
Barracks going
됐습니다.
into this, man.
자, 계속해서 B조에서 경기를 치를 선수를
Very,
추첨하겠습니다.
very exciting. I believe the way that they do this is they go down the list. So it's like the first of each match here. So we're not going to know who's up
8강
against next.
B조에서
Yeah.
경기를 치를 선수는요.
And don't forget, you can't play the person from your group,
버그
but they can be on the same
김민철
side.
선수입니다.
So there's
Right.
Sulky getting the
8강
second match.
C조에서 경기를 치를 선수는요.
Probably better for him, so people have less time to prep. All right, third match gonna go to Rain,
프로토스 정윤종
which means
선수입니다.
Sharp will be in that.
자, 이렇게
fourth
되면
match.
자연스럽게
Now,
B조에서 경기를 치를
Go ahead,
선수는
please. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just
오늘
gonna
16강
say, like,
경기를 통해
I think
1위로
that this is
8강에
already looking
진출한
pretty good for
조기석
Sulky.
선수가
'Cause
8강
like
B조에
Rain, you know,
위치하게
I think the
됐습니다.
two Protosses and Hero are gonna be the only things that can really
자,
stop
A조의
him.
황병영 선수, B조의 김민철 선수, C조의 정윤종 선수,
Sulky
D조의
has not looked weak
조기석
at all
선수가
here.
위치하게 됐습니다. 자, 이제 이 선수들과 함께
fact
8강에서
that
만나
he's
경기를
smashing these
펼칠
Terrans so easily is
16강
really
2위
scary.
진출자 선수를
We're going to be going to that second
추첨하겠습니다.
half in a
자,
moment
먼저
here.
8강 A조에서
All right, mixing up those
황병영
balls.
선수를 만나게 될 선수는요.
This is so funny. Watching four balls get mixed. Who is it? And it's going to be Snow. Okay, so Snow versus Barracks. That's probably the easiest matchup for Snow.
I think Snow should win that. I mean, he had
8강 B조에서
some
만나게 될
lackluster
선수를
PvP, but
추첨하겠습니다.
I think he can iron that out and come back looking really strong.
Yep. Next up for Sulky, it's going to be Light.
네, 이재용
Wow, now
선수가
that is a
김민철 선수를
crazy
만나게
Terran Berserk.
됐습니다.
Light is just
자,
about
계속해서
flawless with
C조에서
SK
정윤종
Terran, so that's
선수를
going to be
만나게
a
될
lot of
선수를
fun.
추첨하겠습니다.
That is one stacked side of a bracket. Rain's opponent going to be
네,
Rush.
윤영진
Rush.
선수를 정윤종 선수가 만나게 됐습니다.
I feel like Rush should be able
자,
to take
D조에서
that. I mean,
조기석
I think
선수를
pretty
만나게
smart.
될
He's always been
선수는요.
very good at the prep.
바로
No surprises for this final one here, obviously, guys.
조일장
Hero is the only one
선수가
left over.
되겠습니다.
He'll be up against Sharp coming up here.
Dude.
자, 이렇게 해서
Sharp and
8강에서
Hero play so many
토너먼트를
times.
이어갈 모든 대진이
If
완성됐습니다.
I was Sharp, I'd be like,
완성된
damn it,
대진표
this is like
준비진과
literally
함께
the
다시
only
한번
person I
확인해
didn't
보시죠.
want. That is a pretty cool bracket, though, Tasteless. What are you thinking? Do you have a match you're looking at there that you're really excited about?
I don't want to be lame. I'm kind of excited about all of them.
Yeah.
I do think some of these are maybe a little bit more predictable as far as who should come out on top. Like, I think Hero should be able to beat Sharp. I'm welcome to something else happening. I think Rush should be able to beat Rain. Snow should be able to beat Barracks. I think Sulky should be able to beat Light, right?
Yeah. I definitely go with you like on all of those matches. I think Hero versus Sharp is like that's a reasonable one, but I think it's like Hero, Rush, Sulky, Snow moving forward. But I am kind of excited about Rain versus Rush because it's an extra week away. Rain actually is going to have enough prep time if he chooses to do it, and like a well-prepped Rain is very, very strong.
Very true. You know, Rain does know how to basically come in with a best of 5, very planned out, knows how to study his opponent. So don't count him out. I mean, Rain, it's eerie how strong he is when he's on top.
Yeah. So Barracks versus Snow going to be our first match there on Monday.
So that'll be recorded by us on Tuesday. We record these 24 hours after they air, and then we drop them about 12 hours after we record them. That's when Africa TV uploads them. So 36 hours from when this happens is when you'll be able to watch our cast of it on YouTube.
Yep.
Do keep in mind that if you want to come down and watch these live, you just got to grab a ticket. So definitely do that. They're usually they get a little bit harder to get in the round of 8. This is when, you know, a lot of people go out of their way to come watch these matches live.
Yeah. And we have Sulky versus Light. I think actually on paper this is the best match. I know you're not really mentioning it. It feels like Light's been a little bit underperforming lately and Sulky's been overperforming. But on paper, this is the best macro Zerg versus the best macro Terran. So, I mean, that should be fireworks, right?
I think so. And look, don't count Light out.
Yeah.
Sulky may be almost otherworldly levels of good. But Light's going to put up a good fight. We could have an upset. I mean, we've actually had a lot of upsets. I feel like our top 8 is a very scary lineup to have. But we had a lot of upsets this season. There's been a real shift in who's been on top. Rain, the next match coming up as well is going to be Rain versus Rush. We were talking about, you know, maybe Rain is going to be prepped for this. I do think Rush has been pretty consistently good. I think he is also destined to become a champion himself here of the SSL.
100%. 100%. He's one of the guys like Snow where you're like, okay, eventually there's going to be a victory here. You know, we waited on Sulky, we waited on Light. It comes true. Like, the best players are the best players. Hero, he's another one. God, Hero deserves a victory. What is going on with that? That is actually maybe the saddest of all, is Hero not having a win yet.
It's been kind of crazy. Again, we got to see what kind of PvT Rain's going to bring. He brings a very conservative Protoss style. Even when he cheeses, it's like a very safe, kind of smart cheese. It's not as crazy of an all-in. So definitely you don't want to miss that one out. And then, of course, the final match in the round of 8 is going to be Sharp versus Hero. We've seen this before. Hero looks very scary, very good. I got to say, Sharp is he's back in the mix of players where I am kind of in awe of. The way he played today, the way he smashed and slammed these other players in the matchup TBT is just astounding.
Yeah. But to be fair, his worst is and always has been his Terran versus Zerg. He plays a very standard style that I think Hero is going to excel against. Honestly, looking at the brackets, I do feel like it's a ZVZ finals. Like that is for me where it's like Hero and Sulky look like the scariest players this season, in my opinion.
I mean, this is maybe in the zeitgeist right now. Zerg is looking really strong. Zerg played well, and we're talking about 2 extremely different Zergs, whether it's Sulky or Hero. They know how to win. They know how to get ahead. And Sulky especially has really shown that he knows how to be deceptive. Even when you're scouting him, he can still trick you. I think you're probably right. I think Sulky is still probably the favorite to take the season.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. Well, guys, that does it for us. We hope that you have enjoyed the round of 16. Anything else, Tasteless?
That's it, guys. Check out the Patreon. We love you, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.